T minus 80 seconds. T minus 70 seconds. T minus 60 seconds. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds.
Hello and welcome to the Outpost Frequencies. You can see we've spared no expense in celebrating our 100th live stream. Bugger. But yes, this is the 100th live stream by the from the last movie Outpost, and like you say, we've spared no expense. Matt has been joined by Kanye West, which is nice. So yes, we've got a full house. So yes, hello Matt, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How's everyone? Loving the hat.
Thank you very much.
Looks very much like the Pope.
It's I genuinely, it's taken me at least 30 seconds to make this.
It's a funny, you even cut bits out so your headphones can go on.
I'm not an idiot. All right?
Jury's out.
Yeah, I'm amazed your wife let you near sharp scissors.
Oh no, she cut them for me.
Don't you? You know, he's still using those safety scissors like they gave us in kindergarten.
Teacher says when I can do the scissoring without with my tongue out, and I can be given sharp ones.
Yeah.
When he
couldn't cut through butter.
When he stops eating paste, he can finally have the big boy scissors.
Yes, and we've got Dr. David Duke. I don't know who that is.
Then just let it. How's it going, gentlemen? I can't believe we finally got to 100, and we can now, after today, stop. We don't have to do this no more.
After the 100th, we get paid.
Oh, that's the best joke of the day, right there.
We do it for the love, not money.
And of course, with us as always, and who's been through all 100 of these, as we can tell, because he is only 25, is Drunken Yoda.
How you doing, guys? I decided to actually live up to my name and have some of the finest wines from the cardboard boxes in the liquor store.
$36 a bottle.
Oh, it is actually a box. I'm not kidding.
It's the old joke sort of saying, I would like your finest bottle of wine, please. Oh, that's going to be $200. I would like your most $8 bottle of wine, please.
Sean, I've just looked up who Dr. David Duke is. We're obviously on the same thinking pattern on this one.
I'm going to leave that for now.
Sean is our resident horrible racist. That's all you need to know, Phil.
Okay.
Allegedly.
We've already had a comment from YouTube.
No,
Let's
it's
just
not
quickly
a
put that up.
legend. I have video evidence from 100 episodes that says it's not a legend at all.
That's taken out of context. That's taken
We-
out of context.
So for our 100th live stream today, because we have
Okay.
got a lot to get through, for our 100th live stream today, we are talking about our top 25 movies. And Paul has just said that, I hope The Thing from Another World is on someone's list. It's close.
Yeah, you're
Sort of.
close. Let me tell you, it would be on if the list went to 26. Today, it would be on that list. But
There is very little overlap, and some of that is on purpose because many of the movies that are on each other's lists could be on my list, and so on,
On
and so
everybody's
forth.
list.
Yeah. And some of the, at least for me, it was kind of like how I felt at that moment. So if you asked me to do this list, next Wednesday, it may come up a little different. So,
And
But that's
I must
okay.
admit, I didn't put mine in a particular order, but they are all movies that are in my top 25. Apart from number one, my number one is my number one movie.
I think that everybody's probably like top 5 would be consistent from week to week, but the rest of them, it's very much like you said, depends on like your mood that week. I think past like the top 5 or 10, it's probably very.
Okey-doke.
Yeah, let's go.
So let's go for it. So Yoda, what is everybody's top or 25th favorite movie? We've got a brilliant layout there. So just to read them out, Yoda's is Major League. Mine is The Raid. Sean's is RoboCop, the original, obviously. And Matt's is Interview with a Vampire. So who should we start with? Let's start with Matt. What makes Interview with a Vampire in your top 25 list, mate?
I don't know. It's just excellent. I think it's just an unappreciated gem. It's not many people would actually put it on their list. I spoke to a few people this week about the top 25, and when I said I've got Interview with a Vampire on it, they're like, "Really?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Have you watched it?" And they're like, "No, I've not watched it for years." I'm like, "Check it out. It's great." So I just love everything about it. I love the whole setup. I love the whole story. The music's fantastic. Obviously, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
And Christian
It's
Slater.
just a great. And it's just such a shame because the books were awesome as well, and it's just a shame they could never get past the first one because the sequels were just terrible. And
Right.
I've just watched. Funny enough, I've just watched the 2 first episodes of the TV series.
You know why?
And what did you make of that?
They were good up until they felt the need to show us 2 vampires sodomizing each other whilst floating through the air, and then I just went, "I'm out." I'm
You
just
know
out.
what?
I can't-
You know what
didn't need
makes-
to see it.
You know what makes that movie worthy of the of a 25 top 25 list is the part where Tom Cruise as Lestat picks up the dead body and goes, "Oh, the old girl's still got life in her yet."
Yeah.
That really made the movie for me. No joke.
Cruise is brilliant in it as well, though. Cruise is brilliant.
That's
in it.
Kirsten
It's just such a-
Dunst.
She's fantastic, and it's such a rarity to see Tom Cruise in a role like this as opposed to like the action hero.
A
It's
really,
just a
really
great film.
random one about for this is it stars a guy called Roger Lloyd Pact, who's in a British sitcom over here called Only Fools and Horses, where he plays this character called Trigger.
Yes.
And it's really weird because his character Trigger is basically an idiot. And seeing him in this movie was kind of just like, oh no way, it's Trigger, and he was acting really, really well. And you kind of forget that these actors do a very good job.
Do you relate?
yeah.
Do you relate to Trigger? Are you like he's literally me whenever you watch it?
Yeah,
Not-
I think he's
not that bad.
definitely Phil.
My friend just said my friend just sent me a text and said that you apparently ignored the gay themes in the Anne Rice books. What do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about that, you fucking bigot?
Trans.
Who says I ignored them?
I didn't. Wasn't me.
Hey,
But there's
hey,
a reason
to
I've
be
read those
fair,
books 5,000
Is that why you
times.
can't get the pages apart anymore?
I'm on my 13th version of it.
well, the movie had some of that.
They were not
but
happy.
that was,
They were not happy with that when I took those books down to that charity shop.
the movie had some of that too, but at least it was like when writers knew how to do subtext and
Yeah.
leave a little bit to the
Alluded to.
imagination and
Yeah.
let the viewer kind of see between the lines and put some layers in there. Oh,
Yeah.
what a magical time that was.
It was always alluded to that they liked a bit of vampire bum, and that wasn't a problem. But like I said, the new series was them bumming each other, and then
Wait a minute,
went for the
wait a
whole
minute, wait a
thing
minute.
of the black
In-
homosexual man in the 1800s or something. I was like,
Well,
"Look, I can't be doing this."
Do they really have sex? Because if I remember correctly, and I do, in the Anne Rice novels, they actually didn't have sex or intercourse. The vampires were not even capable of actual,
Oh, I'll take
physical
your
sex.
word, mate. I've not read them for years and years, but
Yeah, like they
Yeah.
lose their libido, like they get off from sucking each other's blood and stuff.
oh
my
no,
friend-
they bum each other, floating in the air.
Very romantic.
Okie doke.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we do have an awful lot of movies to go through.
Yeah, let's keep going.
We have spoken about. Let's talk about Sean's number 25, which was the original RoboCop. Sean, why did you put that on your list?
Why wouldn't I? I mean, it's a fucking stone cold classic, man. It's
Perfect
got
movie.
it's a perfect movie. It's got everything that you'd want: extreme violence, blood, and it also has what will be on my scariest movie moments list. One of the scenes that scarred the hell out of me as a kid is the dude when he comes out of the toxic waste and he's melting and shit. You know, but perfect.
That was
movie,
when the
man.
guy got his dick shot off. You had bad memories of that.
Yeah.
Guns, guns, guns. Come on, Sal. The Tigers are playing tonight, and I never miss a game.
Bitches
is.
leave.
Bitches like best. That might be the best line of any movie ever.
It is a classic. It is an absolute belter. I haven't seen it for a long time, but I need to watch it again. I remember over here in the UK, it caused massive controversy.
No.
There was a UK cut, and so they cut out most of the violence. But a friend of mine managed to get an unedited version, and it was just like
There is an extended cut now that you can get, and it's more violent. But it like the only bit is the scene where Ed 209 kills the executive at the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
It goes on for like a minute or something.
Yeah.
And he's like laying on the table and it's just like, and you just, yeah, it goes on like so much longer than it does in the normal theatrical cut. And that's really the only thing that they added to it back. But
I wonder how many bruises that poor guy had on. For
Yeah, from Squid. My 25th was The Raid. Now I actually put it down as The Raid and The Raid 2 because they are, to me, if I'm going to watch one, I'm going to watch both of them.
That's cheating.
just-
Cheating.
Don't care. With them though, that it is just, again, they are just the perfect action movie of. I mean, the first one is called Raid Redemption, and obviously it's kind of about him getting redemption with his brother and everything else. And a lot of people say it's very much like Dread that came out, and the story is very similar, but the action is just unbelievably good. And the tension, the bit that always gets me is when him and his mate are in that false wall and the blade keeps coming through and it cuts across his cheek and he holds it to wipe the blood off as it goes through and stuff.
yeah,
And it's just, both of them are an absolute masterpiece of work.
best martial arts movies ever made, in my opinion.
And randomly, what I also like about it is it was made by a Welsh guy, but in Indonesia.
Oh, really?
This Welsh guy just Gareth Evans kind of came out of nowhere and just sort of made this unbelievably good film. And it was kind of like, who directed this? Oh, Welsh guy.
It is a it is a tour de force, as they would say. And have you seen it, Yoda? I know you have.
Yeah, I've seen them both.
Oh, yeah.
I think I love them both, but I think the first one is a much better movie.
Yeah, it moves.
I think it's just so like
It's tight.
I
It's very
think that
tight.
scene, the scene you're talking about where he gets the tension, where he gets his cheek cut and he has to clean the blade as the guy pulls out of his wall so he doesn't get caught, and it doesn't make any noise or anything. I mean, those kinds of moments, I don't know. I feel like it just got way too spread out a little bit in the second one. I like that they didn't just redo the second one or the first one, excuse me. But I don't know. It just felt like it kind of, I very good. Really enjoyed it. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Raid 2. I just think the Raid is like a bona fide classic for the ages.
Absolutely. Like I say, to me, if I'm going to watch one, I'm quite happy to watch both of them. and just have that one like 5-hour-long session of fantastic martial arts.
It's exhausting.
when you get that the payoff is the end of the raid 2 when it starts, like, so his cover's blown and the whole thing. That's the payoff for setting through some slower moments, because it's just
not so much the slower moments. I don't know. Maybe it's pacing. Maybe you're right. I don't know. The first one, I think I liked all the claustrophobia in the first one because you're stuck in that building.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so Yoda, your 25th was Major League.
Yeah, so it's probably kind of an unusual one, or one you guys weren't expecting to see on the list. I have a real soft spot for those slobs versus snobs movie.
Right.
And there was a lot of them, starting with Animal House back in the day, and then I think probably the last good one, I think when finally the genre was done, was PCU in '94. So it almost had like 18-year run of those kinds of movies. You had Caddyshack, you say Police Academy. There was all sorts of twists on the genre. But I like Major League because it is just as funny as any of those movies, but it also has a sincerity and a sports movie aspect to it, of the team you want to see win. It never gets so silly that you don't, that they're not taking the actual game and the actual sport seriously. And that balance is really hard to achieve. And you got a lot of people in there that, you had Charlie Sheen when he was young and he wasn't, full of tiger blood yet.
And AIDS.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm calling AIDS. Yeah. Tiger blood.
Subtlety, Sean, subtlety.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grid.
Rene Russo, Tom Berenger, and Wesley Snipes in a very early role. And the guy who played the president, 24, plays this hilarious voodoo Jamaica guy. and
Yes.
and there's just great Corbin Burnson as the hoity-toity overpaid all-star that's kind of past his years. And all of it works. All of it just is, every bit of it is really, really funny to me. And so I picked it because I wanted to pick a slobs versus snobs. As much as I love Caddyshack and some of these others, they're all a little bit more one-dimensional, and this one kind of makes them both work somehow. And I never get tired of watching it. And then on top of it, you got Bob Uecker, who I think would be the greatest announcer of all times. When he's throwing, Charlie Sheen is throwing the ball and he's missing all over the place. He hits it like 70 feet to the
just a bit
outside.
Yeah.
He tried the corner and missed. He's just so enthusiastic and jaded at the same time, and it's really a wonder to watch. So I love the movie, and I put it in probably every spring because baseball is not what it used to be, and I miss those days of the 80s and 70s when baseball was still a huge deal, and I really loved it. And I haven't really watched much baseball, but I like the game and I like a great baseball movie. So yeah, it is some slobs versus snobs. It's a hilarious movie, and all the way around.
I'm a little surprised that you rate it higher than Revenge of the Nerds 2, which I consider a classic.
Now, come on. Revenge of the Nerds 1 had actual rape. Why would you not like that more?
Because, I hadn't thought about that.
You're dumb.
Well, I tell you why. Because the girl liked it in the first one. It's no good if they like it. Feel right. And make a note of that for our top 10 all-time titillating rape movie.
And there we thought there was a level, and it's just way worse. Okay, so let's move on to our number 24, Yoda. If you can bring that up for us.
Bringing it up now. There we go.
Okie doke. So going in reverse order this time. Matt, you've got Young Ones. Let's say that again. Young Guns, not Young Uns. That's
Young Guns.
A completely different movie.
Youngins? No, that's the one you watch at night when you hope that the Bobby.
That's the one you watch after Cuties.
Yeah, that's the one that you hope. That's the one he hopes the Bobbies don't find out about.
This is our 100th episode, guys. We've got new people in the audience. Best behavior. Best behavior.
Get it together.
I thought for the 100th episode we were getting 100 offensive jokes.
That'll be
Sean,
next week when nobody watches.
Sean, you've got Repo Man, I've got Martyrs, and Yoda has got Shane. So let's go in a different order. I forget how this is going to go. How about you start us off, Yoda? What is it you like about Shane? The end? Shane, I love you, Shane.
Actually, well, you say that, but I actually do love the end because it's like, does he die?
Yeah.
Going on. I believe he does, and that's the heartbreaking part of it. It's the death of the Old West, and for such an old movie, and when 50s movies were really lacking on subtlety when it comes to their westerns. Shane is, I think, one that stands apart. And I remember this was a movie I ended up, we had to read the book and we had to watch the movie for like 8th grade English class or something. I don't know. I know. And schools, torture centers. But the movie stuck with me for some reason. I remember us all, because 8th grade boys are psychopaths, so we were all making fun of it. But it was one that I, put in later in life, and I just really took to it. Jack Palance is awesome as Wilson, and Alan Ladd is great, and all the supporting characters, and this whole, the death of the Old West and the taming of the West, and all these thematic and symbolic things that are going on in it that are all represented by these different people. And Shane is a guy just wants to put all that behind him, and he can't. So you have kind of, it reminds me a little bit of Unforgiven sometimes. It has a little bit of that kind of vibe to it, a gunslinger who just wants to put it all back behind him, and he's dragged back into it.
Doesn't it remind you of Pale Rider, which is an obvious remake?
I have not watched Pale Rider, and I need to. I've seen Silverado and a couple of those others. I've seen a lot of Clint Eastwood westerns, but Pale Rider has always kind of slipped under my radar. But somebody talked about it. I think it was Critical Drinker, maybe. He talked about it the other day, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, my damn list keeps getting worse and worse, and I put all my time into this shit, so I don't have time to watch anything anymore."
When you say worse, you mean longer?
Yes, longer and longer.
We'll get. We'll try and stick to some kind of order. But my 24th was Martyrs, which is a film that myself and Sean have talked about, that you can see on our channel under the Controversial Movies. Martyrs is an unbelievably brutal film to watch. It's pretty horrendous. It starts off with a girl escaping from a torture chamber, basically, and she rescues another girl at the same time. And then they track down the family that they think did it, and literally just turn up and blow away the whole family. But that's kind of in the first 30 minutes. Whereas then they end up in another torture chamber where this girl is just beaten literally to death almost every day, until she is then skinned alive and actually brought to the moment of
spoilers.
Death.
Spoilers.
If you haven't seen it, it's tough luck. And
you knew what this was.
In the background? Who's talking in the background?
That's would be.
That's my sons are watching football. Hold on a minute.
I was just sat there thinking, oh great, we've got ghosts. It's
Every
okay.
week with this shit. Don't you beat your sons like all parents do?
Yeah.
No, they're bigger than me now.
Oh, God damn it. I hate it when that happens.
And so at the end of the movie, basically, it turns out that a sort of cult or an underground sort of group of supremacists of rich people are trying to find out what happens at the moment of death. And this girl is so close to death, she tells one of the people what happens, what's there, whatever it is. You don't hear it, but this woman immediately just goes off and shoots herself. And so for me, it's a film that just stuck with me for so long, because I still think about it now and thinking, what did she say? What could you possibly say that, the edge of death is actually like? And it's like, say, it's a brutal movie, and it's a really hard watch, but at the same time, I think it's absolutely brilliantly made.
Degenerate, that's what it sounds like.
No, it's pretty good, but it's not for the normies watching, that's for sure.
Yeah. Carl has just said online, just to get it up there, Yoda, he says, sounds like a brutal film. It is. It's horrible and it's really uncomfortable to watch. But to me, the ending of it, like I say, is just one of those films that stuck with me for years after I saw it. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's a great film that I never want to watch again. I've only seen it twice, and again, it's kind of one of those films that, yeah, I've seen it twice. It's not like I put it on every Christmas. Hey, kids, let's sit down and watch Martyrs. But it is a fantastically good film. It's
Unless they're
good.
really behind and still talking about Shane. I don't know.
Sean, your number 24 was Repo Man. By Alex Cox, as I remember.
Yeah, that's it.
What is it you love about that film?
It's so insane. It's great. It's set in the 80s, and it's about Emilio Estevez is a punk, and he, through a weird series of events, becomes a repo man, and then they're on the hunt for a car that has an alien in the trunk, and it's sort of like a bunch of vignettes about LA life, and me as a citizen of LA my whole life. It really speaks to me. I'd go on.
Is that Harry Dean Stanton in that?
Yeah. He's
anything with Harry Dean Stanton. If you get a lot of old grizzled Stanton, you got a good movie.
Yeah.
So is it one of those films that you watch and then think to yourself, "I'm never going to LA"?
No, it's
that's what the news is for.
Yeah. No, that the movie actually makes you think it would be pretty cool, but no,
right.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's I think it.
I was just going to say, I haven't seen it in many years, but I do remember enjoying it when I first watched it.
Arrow Video has a special edition of it on Blu-ray that you can see with lots of extras and stuff for those that care about that sort of thing. I would go on more about it, but you guys have spent like 10 minutes each talking about your movie, and watching the clock here. So
that's cool. I mean, like I say, it's one of those films that I think is quite unusual, and I think but it's kind of one of those films that every cinephile should watch at least once in their life.
Mm. Yeah, it's great. It really is a good movie. It's a lot of fun too.
I'll have to put it back on the list.
I like it.
Matt, your 24th was Young Guns.
Yeah, another Estevez one. Yeah, listen, cowboys, guns. Shooting, violence, revenge. That's all you need to know.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. It was actually the film that made me like westerns, to be honest with you.
No shit.
I've got to say this as
I was never really into westerns. I was more sci-fi, but I watched Young Guns when I was younger, and I was like, "Fucking hell, I'm all over it."
Did you? I love the historical accuracy too.
Yeah.
There's rumours they're making a third. So,
Old Guns.
Yeah. Again, it is one of those films that, like I say, I mean, I was never a big fan of westerns. My dad watched a few of them, but I was never a big fan. But Young Guns is one of those westerns you can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was a very 80s movie.
Very
western.
80s.
Yes.
Yeah. And Cole just said, it was the Brat Pack. It was the Brat Pack.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's it is a great movie. And for point of interest, Emilio does carry the same kind of guns that the real Billy the Kid carried in the film, a Colt Thunderer and a Peacemaker. Not that anybody gives a shit.
But did he shoot his cameraman?
No, that's a different movie.
You're not committed. You're not method acting if you're not shooting your DPs.
He's gone to get his guns. Look,
I was going to say, I bet he's got one.
Oh, thank God this is remote.
Sean's going to get his weapon out live on air.
yeah, I'm going to show it to you.
Oh no, wait, a pea shooter. Okay, Yoda, could you call up 24 for
right
us?
there?
23.
Look how long the barrel is on it there, Feel.
So again, in no particular order, Sean's is Red Dawn. Mine is Nightmare Before Christmas. Yoda's is Singing in the Rain, and Matt is Gladiator. I'll start this time. I do like a good musical. I'm not going to lie. I do like a good bit of music and something to sing along to. Nightmare Before Christmas is one of those films that's so beautiful to watch, and it has got a brilliant story about how Jack Skellington lives in Halloween Town, and every October 31st they come out and scare all the kids and everything else. But he discovers Christmas Town and doesn't realize that there are other holidays. And so when he sees Christmas, he thinks to himself, oh, I'd like to do Christmas. And I think there is the dark humor in there that obviously Jack Skellington, who is the king of Halloween, is then giving presents to children, which are like severed heads and snakes and stuff like that, which I do quite like. But I think the music is absolutely fantastic in it. There's some really good numbers, and I like I say, I'm a sucker for an animation, and I'm a sucker for a musical, and it is easily my favorite.
I have always had a problem with that movie, which basically it appears that the message is know your place, don't try anything new, do what you're told.
But I suppose you could look at it that way, but at the same time, I always saw it. I like the fact that at the end, Jack sort of says, "On next year for Halloween, I've got some great ideas." So it is kind of about expanding your mind and sort of doing the best that you can, I suppose, in your own skin. But I never looked at it like that. Oh, well, you've just ruined that.
Your dog needs to know his place.
Yeah, sorry.
Sure. Your dog needs to know his place. Bargain.
I've never seen it, so I don't give a shit.
Really? Oh man! Again, it's one of those films that should be.
It's all right.
I love it. Anyway,
I know why it's. I understand why it's a classic. I get it. It just, I think part of it is also that it's been so hot topic to death. I'm just kind of like, I'm over it. I just get tired of seeing it every year for Halloween and all the.
Yeah, fair enough. I've actually got the soundtrack in my car, and I do like putting it on every now and then and singing to Jack Skellington. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Anyway, right, Matt, you've made a mistake in this list here because your number 23 was you've put The Thing, but it's got a Gladiator. Spoilers for the next one.
Oh, I might have changed it.
You put Gladiator. So I mean,
the picture is the law.
Yeah,
it's obviously a stupid one to say, but why do you like Gladiator?
Blood, guts, fighting, Romans, tigers.
Do the speech. Do the speech.
No, I'm not doing a bloody speech, but it's just. I stumbled across it on Sky the other night actually, and I was like, do you know what? I forgot how good this film was. Oliver Reed as well.
Yeah, CG Oliver Reed as well.
Towards the end, yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about it? It's just an all-round awesome film, and obviously Hans Zimmer's soundtrack. He's just golden.
I mean, it's kind tremendous. I want to say a timeless story. It's one of those stories where it's kind of like the same as Ben-Hur and a few other films where it's kind of like a fall from grace and then getting yourself back up there. But again, it's just so beautifully done. Like I say, with the music and I remember this is so stupid. I remember somebody saying about the special effects in it, and I was going, special effects in Gladiator?
Yeah.
Yes, they didn't build those arenas, Phil. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
They just rebuild them.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
I just
DC fanboy films. You got obviously Jor-El, Wonder Woman's mum, and the Joker.
I just keep thinking of the movie Airplane. Do you like movies about gladiators, Billy?
Sean, your number 23 was Red Dawn, the 80s
classic.
Yeah. What is not to like? The John Milius written and directed classic of commie killing. I mean, it's every boy's dream, isn't it? Where it was in the 80s. You know, you run in the mountains and shoot communists. Who doesn't want that? I mean,
maybe not having my family killed, but other than that, yeah.
Don't be such
Hang on. Which members of my family? Because
yeah, can I pick and choose?
Well, yeah.
And Charlie Sheen. Well, Charlie Sheen again.
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen is in it. Yeah, and
Patrick Swayze,
Leah Thompson, Jennifer Grey.
Yeah.
Jennifer Grey, C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah, Harry Dean Stanton is in that one.
Harry Dean Stanton, that's right. It's no wonder. Avenge me! Avenge me!
Matt, you've made a list for us and shown where the crossovers are, but why haven't you done where the crossovers are with the actors and directors and stuff?
Oh, well, good. Sorry about that.
Because we don't pay him enough, that's why.
You can look forward to our 200th live stream when Matt has finished that list.
Yeah. The funny thing is, behind the scenes, you actually asked me to make a fucking pie chart of it. How did you turn that into a pie chart?
It's because you'd made such a detailed list. That's why I thought, oh, we could do that as a pie chart and then have like a corporate meeting about it.
Yeah.
And as we can see here, and here, these movies have all rated the same.
We're never
Anyway.
We're never going to get through this list with the amount of
No,
time.
Yes,
No,
we're
let's
not.
go. Speak
Right,
up.
so number 23 for Yoda was Singing in the Rain.
Look, I have a soft spot for nice optimistic musicals, and Singing in the Rain is the best. Gene Kelly at his finest. Debbie Reynolds, Donald Connor at a very funny moment. It's got not a insincere bone in its body, and I love it for it.
It is. It
Very,
actually,
very wholesome of you.
Yeah,
well,
and he
it
was in Clockwork
It
Orange.
can't all be cannibal rapists, you know. You gotta throw in some variety once in a while.
Unfortunately,
I-
that's true.
I do love Singing in the Rain. It is just brilliant. The whole story, the way it plays out, is great.
Hold on a
At the
minute.
end-
Hold on a minute. They did link it to rape because it was in Clockwork Orange when Alex was raping that woman while singing Singing in the Rain.
God damn it!
That's
There you go.
where Sean got the idea of singing it during. Yeah.
I'll never
number 20
forgive you, Matt.
Number 22, please. Number 22, please, Yoda.
Coming up,
Oh, what's
I
got
guess.
with that?
Whoops.
What?
Oh,
Why
I
are
hit
we
the
looking
wrong
at you? Oh, there we go.
because I'm awesome.
I think you should
Okay.
leave that graphic up.
Sean's is Blade Runner. Matt's is The Thing. Mine is Ikera, and Yoda is 12 Angry Men.
Phil, it's pronounced.
One of these things is not like the other.
It's pronounced Acura. You
Akira.
pig. Akira. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's a car,
I
Acura.
Akira.
It's Akira, isn't it?
Akira.
If you're
Okay,
if you're
and Yoda-
Western, yes, but if you're
And
Japanese,
Yoda's is 12 Angry Men.
Well,
apparently.
there's only 4 on this one, so we'll have to make 2.
Okay, Matt, why don't you start us off? What's good about The Thing?
Fucking everything.
everything. It's a perfect.
Everything.
You know what I mean? There's not a bad thing about the whole film.
Nothing.
It's just an absolute masterpiece.
It's a
So-
perfect movie and the greatest horror movie ever made. End of discussion.
And I know for a fact that Cole, who's commenting, is my friend who was out beering it up yesterday, and it's also one of his favourites. So, sorry, it's not high up the charts, Cole, but 22 is a good spot.
Childs is the thing at the end too, by the way, for anybody watching.
Spoilers.
You think he is?
Oh, he absolutely is. It's with yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
It's-
can
again, it's
I can
brilliant.
lay it all out for you after the stream to explain it to
All
you.
right, let's do that.
Okay, so Sean, Blade Runner. Oddly enough, just to mention, Yoda is doing a video on Blade Runner, which will be available soon on our channel. But yes, Blade
Oh,
Runner.
nice.
Well, now that Phil took my time discussing my movie, let's move on.
Good. Yoda. No, go on. Give
Don't
us,
be such
I
a
mean,
baby, David Duke. Come on.
It's
What-
That's Dr. David Duke to you.
Right.
what is
it's,
it you like about Blade
Oh,
Runner?
dude, come on. I mean, what
Well,
can
asking
be
is a nice way.
I know, what can be said that's not already been said. I mean, it's iconic. It set the tone for every cyberpunk thing that ever come after it, really. It's kind of a, it's just yeah.
I
don't
think
know,
it's
man.
probably one of the most beautiful films ever made as well.
Without question, yeah. I
And,
think
and
it's-
that soundtrack as well. It's
But
just,
now
yeah.
I should
Yes.
specify though that the one that
Yeah,
I
which
picked
version?
for it, yeah, the original US theatrical cut. The rest of them I don't like. I don't like the
Okay.
tinkering with it. I like the I like the overdub, narration.
yeah,
I like the original. I
Mhm.
don't. That's the only one that I personally like.
fair enough.
I don't like the overdub narration. I like the final cut, except for one major thing, which I will get into in my video, which I think you will agree with, Sean.
Yoda, 12 Angry Men. I take it that's the original version.
Yes, absolutely. The original version. Just a finely crafted piece of cinema with ding.
What was that?
With
Round one.
yeah. 12 angry men, man. No, it's just 12 guys in a jury room working their way through a case. One guy says, I think not guilty. Everybody else is guilty. And they just work their way through the evidence and they get to know these people. And the cinematography is fantastic because it starts out very wide and they closer and closer in. And you get a lot of close-up shots as things get more and more tense and taut. And they have to work their way through some of these guys. And it's just, I mean, it's all in one freaking room the entire time.
It's
And
sort
somehow
of
it
a
works
character.
perfectly.
Yeah, it's almost a character study in a weird way. How would you rate it against Anatomy of a Murder, by the way? Because that's another masterpiece of a courtroom sort of genre.
It's been so long since I've seen that one. I'd have to look. I 12 Angry Men is the one that sticks with me, so I'm going to say it's better. But
I tell you, my favorite is Trial at Nuremberg, but I don't like the ending because all the Nazis get
all the Nazis
convicted.
go, yeah.
I mean, with 12 Angry Men, what's great about it is it is down to just pure writing, acting, and directing. And I mean, obviously, you've got other things in there, but I mean, there's no CG or special effects that you can fall.
It's black and white.
No. But what I'm saying is nowadays they kind of like,
No,
like
but I mean,
Cameron's Avatar 2. Yeah, no, but I mean, Cameron's Avatar 2 is all about the special effects, and it's like this kind of movie is not that at all. This is just pure cinema of like I say, 12 men acting and just doing a fantastic job.
And
It's
perfectly cast from top to bottom.
Yeah. Right, mine is Akira.
There you go.
Ikea. Mine is IKEA.
Fucking IKEA. Swedish furniture.
Why are you making fun of other cultures, you friggin' bigot, man?
Have you been on this show?
As soon as the camera goes off, it all changes, doesn't it? Akira is just one of those films. I remember seeing it when I was younger. It was the first CD that I ever bought. It was the soundtrack to that movie. But just the film itself was just, because people kept going on about it, and I kept thinking, animation? Oh, no, I don't think so. But the story is fantastic. And I still don't know kind of whether I fully understand the story still after watching it so many times. But it's a brilliant piece of work from beginning to end. The whole thing, I love it.
As far as I could tell, it's just a very large blob creature that's mad at Canada, which I don't know what Canada is.
Okay, let's
really hates maple syrup, I guess. I don't know.
Let's call up 2021 then.
All right, coming on up. There we go.
So my 21 is Wicker Man. Matt's is Silence of the Lamb. Sean's is Predator, and Yoda's is Superman the movie, the original Superman. I'll start if you like. Wicker Man is completely and utterly bonkers and has the best ending to a movie ever.
Nicolas Cage's best role.
I forbid anybody to say not the bees. Okay, we're not doing that.
For those of you who haven't seen it, the story is a policeman goes to find out to investigate the murder, or no, to find a missing child that's gone missing on this island, and he gets to this island. I forget
Epstein Island.
He's never going to find him. Well, I have found her. She's over there, and there. And basically on this island is a cult of people who still believe in human sacrifice to please the gods for their harvest. And it is totally and utterly bonkers. Seeing Christopher Lee dancing and prancing around, singing these sort of like folk songs and stuff is. You've got Britt Eklund, who dances around naked singing as well, which is worth watching just for that. But the end of the movie, spoilers if you haven't seen it, you're an idiot. But the end of the movie, I still remember the first time I watched it. I didn't know much about it. And they put this policeman inside the Wicker Man and set fire to it. And I was sat there thinking, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. You know, somebody will come along with it. He'll be fine. Is that a helicopter just behind the Wicker Man? Yeah, it's a helicopter. Oh, no, it's not. And then the credits start to roll and he's just screaming. And it was just, I just remember sort of sitting there quite stunned at what had happened in this movie, because, you know, movies are always kind of like the good guy wins and the bad guy loses. Whereas in this, that's not what happened at all. And it completely blew my mind. And I loved how, like I say, I just didn't expect the end of it at all. It's a bonkers movie and I absolutely love it.
It's all right.
How dismissive can you get?
Sean, your 21 was Predator.
That's all right.
A much better movie.
That's the Predator, the 2018 version, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. God, no.
Jesus. Another
Okay.
perfect movie, Sean.
It's good because in the original Predator, Shane Black dies.
That's always good to see.
He doesn't go on to make Predator 2018.
I ain't got
Yeah.
time to bleed.
Yeah. Oh man, it's probably one of the greatest action movies ever made,
Mhm.
and a great action horror sci-fi. All three,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a little woke.
a little bit. Yeah, it does have a it does have a female in it. So,
But again, it's
I-
one of those films where there's nothing like that in it. It's literally men versus this monster, and that's it. There's guns, and that's it.
yep.
Yep.
Hey, if we were rating this on rail chain guns, this would be number one.
That is not a rail or a chain gun. That is a Gatling gun or
Okay,
the
Gatling gun.
That is and to be precise, that is the M134 minigun.
It would still be number one because of the cool factor.
You've sucked the fun out of that. So we're going to come back to Predator because it's on a couple of other people's lists. So, but Yoda
Oh,
is another one that's going to be.
spoilers.
Oh, what? You know, some of them are. Actually, that's true.
Take
Sorry.
over, Yoda.
Yoda, yours was Superman the movie with the original Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some overlap here on this one too, but I mean, it's just to me in a lot of ways the gold standard of superhero movies. There is, I would say, it gets a little too jokey sometimes at the end compared to stuff today, but I do love. I mean, Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman and Clark Kent to me is still the gold standard that has never been topped, never even close. The only guy you say the tagline that says "You'll believe a man can fly." It's like he's the only one that said "You'll believe a man can put on a pair of glasses and have everybody fool everybody think he's a different person."
Well,
Reeve actually did that.
He should.
Yeah, he did.
He should have got an Oscar for that movie because for a paraplegic man to move
Without any CG.
fucking amazing, man.
To be fair, don't get me wrong.
He really was a Superman.
Don't get me wrong. I love Superman, but I always liked the comic remake, Man of Steel.
Okay, just for the record, Sean, you're one sick fuck. You know that? Okay. Just want to put that out there.
Matt, yours was Silence of the Lambs.
Yep. One of the most
Which is
disturbing
weird.
films I think I've ever seen.
Well, it's got no lambs in it. It was weird.
Would you rate anything in that movie on like your top scariest moments, Leas? Would anything
Yeah,
in
there's
that?
something in. Yeah, there's
did,
something.
he did.
Hannibal's escape.
What now? Who's escape?
Hannibal when he escaped from his.
Oh yeah. That's
a night
that's a-
vision moment.
nah.
Yeah,
That's
Night
but
vision
I think the
moment?
whole. It's the whole Hannibal.
Well,
where he was
maybe
just
tenseness,
calm.
not as much. I don't know.
No, I'm with Matt
great.
on that one. Like
I
I say, the
agree.
bit where he escapes and he's
Yeah.
just there's no
It just kicks off.
emotion.
You don't expect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
it's
the
great.
fucking face in the ambulance as well. You're like, oh man, that is one nasty.
he takes his face off.
Yeah.
That's a different movie.
Oh yeah.
And-
No, it's great.
And
It's
disappointed it didn't appear on anybody's list, by the way.
I thought about it.
Did it not? Was it only me who had that?
No,
Face
no
Off.
Face Off. He's talking
Talk
about
about the John Woo action masterpiece with
Right.
masterpiece, more like mantelpiece. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs. It is a cracking film, and it kind of launched that whole Anthony Hopkins.
You know what the best part of the movie is when a dude throws jizz in her face. That is just mwah.
I'll tell you a story. We were 17 when me and my wife we went to see it at the cinema. We were 17, so we was obviously too young to
First
turn 18.
first date movie.
First day, no, we've been together about 400 years by then. And so we were a year younger than we should have been to get in, but we got in now and we're sitting behind a row of school teachers.
Oh shit!
And they just turned around and they went, "Why are you here?" It's like,
You should
because I can.
You should have said, "Why are you here?"
No, my response to that would have been just to lean forward and say, "To get some tips."
Yeah.
You should. What you should have done was leaned over into one of them's ear and said, "I can smell your gun."
To the headmistress.
Yeah. See you Monday. See you Monday.
Christ
Man,
almighty, Phil.
I've got a lot of homework this week. Okay, so let's
Move
go
us
to
along. Hurry.
20th, our 20th top movies.
God, we get some of the wholesome movies here. Oh Christ, A Clockwork Orange. Here we go again.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, Yoda's the thing. I'm Clockwork Orange. Sean is Jaws, and Matt is very low. He's Return of the Jedi. Who wants to go first? Go on, Yoda. You go first. The Thing. Tell us about the Thing.
Well, I mean, we
it
kind of talked about it. So I don't want to go too much into it. I just basically agree with everything those guys said. Ditto. It's just perfect movie.
This is the first time we've had a duplicate.
Yeah. It is. But perfect movie.
Perfect movie, man.
Great. People you thought you could trust, and then you can't trust them anymore, and all that tenseness. And then when you add in Botton's special effects,
I do believe there's an excellent video on it on our YouTube channel, isn't there?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Sean, Jaws.
Dude, it's fucking Jaws, man. Probably another a perfect horror. Yeah, a perfect horror movie, just like The Thing. Really, I mean, it's got a little bit of everything for everybody.
Kind of the fact that it made so many people go swimming in the sea afterwards.
I tell you what. I mean, it even has gunfire in it, and it's a movie about sharks. It's you got nudity, you got death and blood and guts, and a dude that gives a great speech about the Indianapolis. And
I honestly think it's the camaraderie between the three and the more of the hunt. Then I think everybody misunderstood what made Jaws great. It was all about they turned it into Jason of the Sea, and it's like that's the first Jaws was not that. It was different.
Have you guys ever heard John Milius talking about when Robert Shaw had to do that Indianapolis speech, and he comes in to do it, and he's drunk. Spielberg wants him to do it, a practice run, and he had just got busted by his wife for nailing the babysitter, and he starts giving a speech. He's like, it says it's got dead black eyes like your wife when she catches you with the babysitter, and it tears into you just like your wife and the nanny after she, and it's so funny. I wish I could remember it or pull it up somehow.
Just as an aside here, I wish I could see it. I guess there's a play that is kind of a one or a stage play with those three actors playing those three playing in Jaws, and all the arguments and stuff that went on when the camera was off, and it's just something that's like I would really love to see that, but it's not around here. So
it's actually Shaw's son as well, isn't it? Playing the part his dad played.
Oh, really?
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Yeah, it's actually his son who looks just like him. Because I looked at him, I was like, my God, he's a dead ringer, and it's actually his boy.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
That's unfortunate for him.
Well, hang on. Before the shark attack or
eh?
after? Before the shark attack or after?
After.
He just drags himself on with no legs. Matt, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, well, it would be higher up. I think the Ewoks let it down a little bit without going too much, but yeah, great film.
To be fair,
I can't say any more about it.
To be fair, we'll hold off on that one because Sean has got it in his top 5. So
we'll a spoiler.
I maintain that movie is the reason why furries exist now.
Great film, and the whole franchise should have ended there.
Yeah, it ended Luke's story perfectly. I think it was weak on trying to figure out what to do with Han and Leia. And if it wasn't for the gold bikini, they would have had nothing to do. So,
to me, I put it in as Return of the Jedi, but like as Star Wars the trilogy. But Return of the Jedi is my favorite for the two reasons that I love it when Luke says to the Emperor, that I am a father like my Jedi before me. Somebody's calling me; they can stop off.
That's your mum again, isn't it?
No. It's actually somebody who probably wants me for work on a Sunday night, so it's not good.
Bill collector.
I just need somebody to come in on me, and we'll have all four have been interrupted during the stream.
And the other bit is when it's the Falcon in the second Death Star. You sit there on the edge of your seat as the flames are chasing them up, and it's fantastic. Okay, let's move on. 19.
It's all right.
You missed yours, Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange. My Clockwork Orange. I love Kubrick. I don't care. I love Kubrick. I think the man. I genuinely put him in the class of genius. And Clockwork Orange is just one of those movies that is it's nuts, it's bizarre, it's crazy, but it's so unbelievably well done. The dialogue is just beautiful throughout the whole thing, and just I absolutely love A Clockwork Orange. I think it's brilliant. Sean,
Sean, I
your
think
dog.
people are
Show your
trying to
dog
escape from your basement.
I can't help it. There's my brother is over here visiting, and the dog loves my brother, and they're both idiots. I don't know what to say to them. I'm
Um,
Say,
sorry.
love,
maybe-
what's going on? Are we looking bestiality happening in the background out there?
Say he loved your
Is that
brother a long
cry-
time.
Cry for help from your dog?
Draw your own conclusions.
I love Clockwork Orange. The soundtrack, everything about it is brilliant. I think it's a great piece of work.
It's a great movie.
It's got
I'm
some
with you on
rape.
that one.
It's got a lot of rape in it.
It does.
It does. A bit of the
But
old
it's
in and out.
weirdly, it's almost a comedy satire.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very arousing.
Anyway, 19. Let's go to 19.
Okay, 19's a little special. We got our first duplicate.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
So Yoda and Sean sitting in a tree. No, both like aliens. I've put down a Razorhead, and we got Blade Runner there for Matt. So we've talked about Blade Runner, Matt. So we'll give that one a skip. But I mean,
on.
Sean and Yoda, aliens.
Yoda, you go ahead. You probably got more to say about it than I will.
Yeah, I just think Cameron knew how to take this first movie, which was a slasher movie in space. It's basically what it was. A very well done one, don't get me wrong, but and he expanded on it, and he grew the character of Ripley so well and did it by making her a mother. And she lost her daughter. And by the way, I think the extended cut is the one you need to watch.
Absolutely.
But they show that her daughter had grown old and then passed away. And so when she meets Newt and she becomes this motherly, strong woman, but not strong like she's flipping aliens over her head, but like she's smart enough to arm the fuck up and, learn how to use this stuff. And then you have Hicks, which is Bean's just wonderful take on the character.
The
And
father
the father figure. Yeah, you end up there. And then you have, I love Burke because Burke kind of comes across you almost like the first time you see it, at least at that time, you think, okay, this guy is like, maybe he's on their side because, the way the company was before, and that will be the twist. But no, the twist is that the android is on their side instead of betraying them.
Nobody thought Burke was the good guy, and I'll tell you why. Because
I was 16, man.
He's obviously Jewish, so we know that he's going to
take you off of this fucking stream.
I can't believe Matt said that.
Yeah. Says the guy with Dr. David Duke in his title there. Anyway,
he's great. He's the great. Yeah, he's like the great real villain of the piece, He
is. And throw in there some of the greatest action, and every character, them. They all have enough little quirks and stuff that you remember every one of them, from game over, man, game over, to Vasquez to all of them.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man? No. Have you?
Nope.
Great line in the movie.
I still cannot get over that Vasquez was the mother from Terminator 2.
I know, it's bizarre.
It's so weird
as well.
She's also in Near Dark as one of the vampires.
How has she not been canceled?
I don't know. Because she retired and they can't cancel her anymore.
Yeah, what are they gonna do?
Or probably because she doesn't give a shit. You can't cancel people that don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so going on from go on.
Just to say and on top of it, one of the greatest action movies ever made. So
absolutely,
I think it was great because it was so different from Alien, but so well done. They're almost completely two entirely different genres, but they did it.
But easily part of the same universe.
Did you guys, when you guys watched it back then? I at the time as a kid, it was more of a horror movie to me back then. Years later, as I got older, it's obviously an action movie too, but the horror elements in it are still pretty strong. Would you disagree with that? I mean,
I would say one of the greatest scares I would probably put on my list is when that face hugger comes to moves in the jar.
Yeah,
got me good the first time.
I think it's in love, Burke.
Yeah.
love at first sight is what he says, isn't it?
Love at first sight.
Yeah.
My one on the list is a really weird one. Is David Lynch's Eraserhead, which I watched.
That's a dog shit movie, man.
I have a soft spot for. I don't like art house movies, but I have a soft spot for David Lynch. I don't like all his stuff, but I do like David Lynch. And I remember it was years ago. It was on some random TV program, some celebrity. I can't even remember who they were. They're probably dead now. But they said that their favorite one was Eraserhead, and I wanted to check it out. And I remember just watching it, and I had the VHS, and I watched it over and over and over again. And it creeped me out, and it was weird, and it was bizarre. But I love it. I think it's a brilliant. It's because I mean, ultimately, it's about fatherhood and David Lynch confronting his own fears of fatherhood. But it's just done in such a bizarre, weird David Lynch type way. It's certainly not everyone's cup of tea, but I like it.
Pretentious is the word you're looking for.
It's not pretentious.
That's Lynch.
It is to anybody with an IQ under room temperature. Let's go on.
I just want to know what the hell that freaking baby was.
That's the thing. Is it was David Lynch's fear of raising a child?
No, I mean, in actuality, I want to know what the hell that was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's now doing very well in Hollywood executives circles. So number 18. Is it 18? Yes, 18. We've got Yoda's got The Shining. I've got Jaws. Sean's got Terminator, and Matt has got Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. So go on, Yoda. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Well, I mean, you said earlier, Stanley Kubrick is the man, and he understood Stephen King's work better than Stephen King did, in my opinion.
Yeah. From the fact that Stephen King didn't like that movie tells you quite a lot.
Tells you quite a lot. And,
the book is dog shit. The book is dog shit. How it got to be so popular, I have no idea.
I mean, it's certainly the bones are there because Kubrick was able to find it. But it's just a masterclass in atmosphere and dread. I mean, there's only one death in the whole damn thing, which is one of the most hilarious deaths in its own way. It's like this poor guy, he tries so hard, treks halfway across the country, walks in, I'm here, dead, I'm gone. So, but it's the idea of the family unit just getting torn apart like that. And then you have all these really bizarre imagery that should not be there. Most of it, pseudo-sexual and things like that. It's just, Kubrick just did such a fantastic job, and he never has to use one shaky cam. It's great.
I think it's one of those films where I genuinely think every single frame means something.
Yep.
There's not because I mean, apparently there are scenes where they're like there's chairs missing in the background, and when they cut back, they're there, and other sort of things like this that people have kind of read all these different things into, and I think Kubrick did it for a reason, but just kind of never explained to anybody what they were.
Moon landings. That's what that was about.
Oh, absolutely. There is a whole.
Yeah.
No, if you've seen a film called Apartment 237, there is a whole
I have.
We know
conspiracy
everybody.
theory.
Yeah, we know. Let's move on from that. Yeah.
So, I had Jaws. We've talked about that. Sean, Terminator, the original Terminator.
Dude, one of the greatest movies ever made. You got Michael Biehn in it. Probably one of the greatest on-screen heroes and one of the greatest on-screen villains for a horror movie. It's a slasher love story. You got the Terminator's based. It's a slasher chase movie. It really is. And then, you got the love story of Reese coming back to get Sarah. It's just great.
Well, he takes a slasher movie and he underpins it with a mythology that just makes you want to see more. And then they made more, and we went, "Oh no, don't do that anymore."
The bit that gets me about it is the fact that Michael Biehn was able to pull and have sex with Sarah Connor, even though he was wearing a dirty tramp's under trousers for the entire film.
Yeah,
imagine that.
He should have caught herpes just by putting those on.
Yeah, I think it's superior to Terminator 2, as good as Terminator 2 is.
That's a bold statement.
Oh, that's silence.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't I don't know that I agree, but then I don't know that I disagree. It's like I can't really
I
decide
think,
which one is
you know,
better.
if Terminator 2, Edward Furlong was an older kid in it and could do more, and wasn't this one? It's very dated. T2 is pretty dated for the early '90s, I think.
I'll
And
tell you
that-
what, I was going to say T2 we are going to talk about because it does come up on the list somewhere later.
Another spoiler.
I'm not.
Yeah,
even,
I'm not spoiling that much. Bloody hell.
I'm just not even going to talk about my. If Phil wants to interrupt me in the middle, I just never mind.
No, fine. Carry on, Sean.
Matt,
We're all
Matt.
fascinated.
Matt,
Yeah,
when
take my
movie,
dog and go home.
Matt, when my movie comes up, you just fill in for me, and I'll sit here and nod my head or whatever.
Okay.
Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, Matt.
Amazing. Obviously, I'm a big Star Trek fan anyway, but it's just. Some will say it's probably the greatest sequel ever made. It's obviously arguable, but it's just tremendous. Tremendous film. I think the first one missed a little bit of Star Trek magic, kind of went up itself a little bit. And then to come back with Star Trek 2.
I love the whales in that movie.
Fucking wows. Yeah, it's a great film.
Star Trek 2, greatest Trek movie still ever made. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
It's,
I think you're dead right there. It's tremendous. It's fantastic. And I'll tell you what, I'm not an emotional person at all, but the scene with Spock and Kirk at the end
Makes you tear up a little bit.
Well, if I had tear ducts, it would, but I don't because I'm an alpha. But
this is where I would be crying if I had
That
to.
would really get to me.
yeah,
I'm very impressed with that. That was pretty cool, by the way.
There you
Star
go.
Trek 2 is good. It is a belter. Again, it may come up on the list later. We don't know.
Bumberback Campbell Patch is great in it as Khan.
Number 17 then, please, Yoda. Yoda's got Casablanca. I've got the original Matrix. Sean's got First Blood, and then Godfather Part 2 from Matt. I'll go first on the Matrix. The original Matrix it changed so much, with what they did with the bullet time motion and everything else.
It changed as much as the Wachowski sisters.
It was a brilliant film made by two men who were excellent. No, the original,
dead now.
They were killed and replaced. We don't know
That's
why.
right.
By evil robots. But no, the original was just, again, it's a story which was
Game
absolutely
changer.
brilliant. Yeah, it was fantastic because it was kind of, I know this is obviously a stupid thing to say, but Elon Musk has sort of said that, technology is moving on, that the fact that of creating a virtual reality world which you could live in, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But the bit that really gets me about it is Agent Smith, when he says about humans, and he said, I have tried to class your species, and you're more like a virus, how you move to an area and eat, and just it's brilliant. I absolutely love the Matrix. It's such a shame that I kind of, when I watch the Matrix, I kind of have to watch 2 and 3, and then I always annoyed that I watched 2 and 3 because I should just leave it at the first one.
Just stop at 1, man.
Yeah. And then don't even get me started on 4.
I thought that speech of Smith's was about immigrants.
Yeah, humans.
Let me guess when he says it's the smell. That's the part. That's where you start going.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're so racist. I can't believe you said that.
No, I just know
Outrageous.
you. I just know you.
I hadn't thought of that joke, but I wish I did.
Yeah.
I wished I did. I'm not gonna lie.
I hate myself now.
Yoda, Casablanca.
I just never. I find something in it every time, and I just love it. I think it gets. The one thing that probably keeps it from going any higher on the list is because I think that the flashback scene goes a little too long, but some of the great moments are great. I never not laugh when the German guy says, fine excuse, but we need to shut this place down. It's like, all right, we're shutting this place down. Why? I'm shocked to find there's gambling in this establishment. The guy runs up. Here's your winnings, sir. Oh, thank you. It gets me every time. It's so awesome.
I have only ever seen Casablanca once, and I didn't didn't connect with me. I probably
Claude
need to watch
Rains,
it.
I think, is the unsung hero in that movie. His dry wit and his real what would I call it? Just deadpan, jaded, cynical, but he just manages to just keep things going, and he doesn't. It's hilarious, and then both of them at the end find purpose in their life. As far as fighting the Nazis, I think there's more to it than just unrequited romance, and that's. I think people always talk about Rick and Elsa, and I was like, oh, I love the beautiful friendship stuff. I love it. It's great.
Gay, so gay.
That's because you're woke.
Matt, you put down Godfather 2.
Yeah, amazing.
The Godson.
It's obviously it's nowhere near as good as the first one, but it's like I said about Star Trek 2, arguably one of the greatest sequels ever made. Fucking brilliant.
Okay.
It is
Start
great,
to finish.
It
From
is
start
great.
to finish.
Have you ever seen
Tell me you got bored, Phil. You got bored with it.
Have you ever seen the Godfather saga, which is all of them edited together in chronological, the stories so it starts out with all of Robert De Niro's parts, and then it cuts into the Pacino stuff. Have you ever seen it? It's called the Godfather saga.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's not been shown very many times. Yeah. Anyway, a little
Again,
side.
I have seen it, but I remember it was good. But it's something I need to revisit because it's been many years since I've watched all three of them.
It's
the third one's good too, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the third one is good.
First one gets slagged off, but it's all right.
The third one is good. The re-edit of it here recently too it makes it it's a good movie. I don't care what anybody says. The third one's fine. It's not. Is it equal? Right. It's I
think the bar was set so high, Sean, with number 1 and number 2 that to get all three at that level was near on impossible.
Yeah, it's Return of the Jedi. Good in its own right, but not where the other two were.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Sean, your number 17 was First Blood.
You want to take it away, Matt, so he doesn't interrupt? Or should I talk about it?
I love that movie. It's freaking great.
No, go on, Sean. Carry on.
You sure? Is it okay?
Yeah.
So Vietnam vet.
Yoda, number 16 is
Got him.
Oof.
I cannot believe you fell for that.
Got him.
That was applause. Very good. Very well done, sir.
Got him.
You should have tipped your waitress.
He did that. Whitey pitch deserved it. Go ahead, Sean.
No. I'm not in the mood. I'm leaving.
I'll tell you what, then I'll talk about it. So this gay boy.
That was a part that Brian Dennehy was born to play as the prick sheriff,
Yeah.
And it's just great. The ambush scene where he takes out the cops one at a time in the forest, man, that's some good stuff.
Yeah.
It is.
Sean, I'm going to say, I think that Stallone's finest work was his nervous breakdown at the end.
Oh, absolutely. Very naturalistic performance.
I'm serious. It is so heartbreaking. And it's what makes that movie elevate from an action movie to something far more.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that the others became cartoons. He literally became a Saturday morning cartoon character. This vet with PTSD who murdered people is a Saturday morning. I love the 80s.
He doesn't kill anybody in the first one. He fucks him up. But...
Yeah, it's true. One guy fell from the helicopter because of his own stupidity.
Yeah.
But it's. I agree with you 100% on this one.
It's a perfect movie. I would call it a perfect movie because
I think so.
It's a very good character study on a guy that, a little bit unfortunate because it advanced the crazy Vietnam vet stereotype of the time, but it's still good. It's great though.
I do remember the stuntman talking about diving off the cliff into the trees and saying how he broke a leg, and it was kind of like, what was the plan? And he said, "Don't know, just dove into the trees."
I've thought about that movie several times, and I've often thought, I wonder if at 2 points in the movie when he decides to go back into town and he gets arrested, and when he jumps from that, I've often thought, like, was he trying to get himself killed both of those times, knowing the result? Because the sheriff, it's like his friend died, he's got nothing left. is he go back into the town to provoke a fight and get himself killed. And when he dies off the cliff, he's like into that tree. He's like, there's no way out of this. And did he jump? And then the tree just so happened to catch his fall in that case, because he's very suicide. He's obviously kind of
he doesn't care.
Yeah,
I don't think in the jump on the cliff he was, but I do think you're right. When he got to the town, I think he knew it was no way out at that point, and he wanted revenge, and he didn't care if he got killed. But
it wasn't a pride thing at that point. I think he was just like, you know what?
What's he like?
I feel like at the cliff he was like, well, let's give this a try. I think I can make it. I don't think it was like I would try to kill myself. I just don't want to get shot on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
It is again a brilliant movie. Brilliant.
It is.
Yoda, if we can have 16, please. Terminator 2, Judgment Day by Matt. What's that say? Willy Boy? No?
Tell him Willy Boy was here. Yeah.
Tell him Willy Boy was here. Sorry for Sean. Terminator 2, another match up there with Yoda. And I've got RRR, which is probably the most modern film in the whole list.
It's got to be.
Just to say. Sean, tell us about Tell Them Willy Boy was here. Because I must admit, I've not heard of this.
No, I've not heard of it.
It's a great Western. It made in the 70s, so it's sort of got that modernistic twist from the, Vietnam War background kind of informing. But it's based on a true story of this indigenous loser that comes out of prison, and the tribe that he belongs to, they believe in, marriage by kidnap. So he beds a squaw, and her dad comes out to catch him, and he accidentally kills her dad in the process, and it's self-defense. But so they take off across California to try to get away, and Robert Redford is the local sheriff, and he's in charge of the reservation, and so he puts a policy together, and they go chasing Willy Boy, and it's a great story. It was amazing, true story that this guy, this Indian, and this woman, they go, I forget how many miles across basically California desert and into the mountains and stuff. And it's a great movie, guys. It's a fucking it's a lesser known classic nowadays. But let me tell you, not only is it a good story, but it's got some of the most beautiful cinematography you'll ever see in it. I reviewed it for the site a long time ago, and I'm sure you all four ignored it. But you should definitely check it out. It is a great Matt. It's great, Matt. You should legit check it out, man.
You know what I did? I looked at everyone's lists, and there was quite a few on there that I've never even seen or heard of. And I've got a separate list now with, like you said, Yoda, a mounting list of things to watch. But that was definitely on there.
Are you into those 70s westerns, Sean? I mean, do you have affinity for them, or just a few? Because I'm surprised you put this in like Butch and Sundance to get on there or something like that.
No, not really. Just a few, but the ones that are more serious minded, I get. So on this list, spoilers, is the Wild Bunch, and so I like the Wild Bunch. The Professionals, and there's a few, but not really. It's.
Have you ever seen the Life and Times of the Judge Roy Bean?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
You and I may have to have a conversation on that one.
Fair enough. Who else? Oh, so okay, you guys talk about Terminator 2, and then Sean will tell you what's wrong with it.
Well, okay, so I was one of the things I said about Top Gun Maverick is that it was Terminator 2, insofar as Terminator 2 is exactly the same story as Terminator. However, they added one or two things that upped the stakes a little bit, and then they really polished off the special effects. And so I think Terminator 2 is probably a better movie, although it depends on what day you catch me. I love them both. I think they're both excellent. I really love the cinematography in both the Terminator movies. The after that, like 3 on up, they get way too colorful, and I love all the muted blues and things like that. Or when they're in the smelting plant, it's all hot oranges and things like that.
Let me I'm sorry, but I got it. The amazing thing about it is the lighting on the Terminator and Sarah Connor used into the film. And as the Terminator becomes more human, the blue goes away and you get more orange, whereas Sarah there for a while gets more blue. And then at the end, you know,
I didn't know that.
the smelting plant, he's always lived very warmly, you know. And because when she goes to kill Dyson, it foreshadows the Terminator. You know, she's got the black glasses on, she's got the red dot on laser, and you know, it's very evocative of the first movie and the Technor scene. And it's got a lot going on in it that it's more than just an action movie.
I like the director's cut a little bit better because I like the idea that, well, for one, there's a really brilliant scene as far as practical effects, because I don't know if you guys know, Linda Hamilton has a twin sister. And so they have her pulling a chip out of Arnold Schwarzenegger's head, but it's a dummy. And then he's sitting in front of a mirror and he's behind the mirror with the twin pretending to work on his head. It's a really fantastic shot with done with just matching their movements and stuff.
And it's a great bit of Terminator lore in it too, because they take
it
the
is because
out and,
she turns it to from read only to read write. He can learn and grow, and that's what kicks him off, getting some emotions as he goes on through the story. It never made sense to me why he would just simply do that. He just explains he's a learning computer, but it's like, I like that Skynet keeps their Terminators in line by changing it to read only. I mean, so there's a little bit extra stuff in there I really like.
The best is the Ultimate Skynet edition, where you get the Blu-ray, you have to input a code, and it's everything they ever cut out of the movie put back in, and it's the longest cut, and it's worth it. There's not, it's James Cameron's. There's nothing. Anything that was excised for the theatrical cut and whatnot was only for time purposes. It did not. The extended cut is a superior movie.
I mean, it's no Piranha, but for James Cameron, I think it does.
I saw a great meme. I saw a great meme, and it said about the bit when Robert Patrick was in the behind the in the mental hospital when he walks through the bars. There's a meme go around saying that scene was actually improvised by Robert Patrick, and it was so good that James Cameron kept it in the film. I'm going to mention just quickly RRR. I was unbelievably blown away by how good this movie was. It's easily in my top movie of this year. It was just, everybody kept raving about it, and I thought it can't be as good as what everybody says. It was this epic saga, and you can't sort of break it down into a small chunk. It's basically about how evil the British were when they moved to India and took over, and basically a young girl gets sold into slavery for a couple of pence. So one of the guys who lives in that village goes to try and find her, but you find out that an Indian policeman is out to stop him, and they don't know each other when they first meet. They actually become friends. And this film is, people kept saying it's not really a Bollywood, but it kind of is, because there is sort of song and music's in there, but there's also this like massive scene where all these animals attack an army, and there's one bit where somebody fights with a motorbike, and the whole thing is just, there's a complete and utter suspension of disbelief. But this story is just, I absolutely loved RRR. If you get a chance to watch it, it's brilliant.
Sounds
brilliant.
Boring.
It's
boring.
not.
You lost me when you said about the English being evil.
Yeah, me too. I toned down immediately. I was like,
yeah, but doesn't he throw a leopard at a guy? I mean, what else do you need? Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, you're selling.
I'm not kidding. He throws a leopard at a person to kill him. I'm like, I'm in. What are you talking about?
The first time you meet the guy, he's hunting a wolf, and he kind of covers himself with blood, and then he's running through this jungle waiting for this wolf to catch him, and then a tiger turns up and kills the wolf, and then the tiger starts chasing him, and he doesn't fight the tiger. It's very well done. It's just, honestly, it's worth watching. I tell you how much I loved RRR. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It's ridiculous.
What's the incident of people in India with tiger blood, to use Yoda's term?
AIDS?
Well, I wasn't going to say it.
I could see the blank look on their faces, so I just went for it.
No.
I'm sorry.
That was a callback. That was
Even I
callback.
kind of got the subtlety of that, but Yoda's just like, what? They've all got AIDS? Everybody in India's got AIDS. Oh, right, yeah, I suppose. I don't know.
All right.
That'll be
next.
the
let's
incest.
swiftly move on to number 15.
Yes, we got to move these jokes along, Sean. We can't be subtle about this. Stuff,
You're right. These feel. Yeah, he's not very good at subtlety.
No. Sean, Wild Bunch, Matt, The Dark Knight, Terminator for Yoda, and me, Dumb and Dumber. I don't care what you say. I love Dumb
I
and
actually
Dumber.
thought you was taking, when you sent this list through, I thought you was taking a piss. I was waiting for
I
the
did
other one
too.
to come in.
I did
No,
too. I did
genuinely, I genuinely love Dumb and Dumber, and it's one of those films that I can just sit and watch it over and over again. And I think, I know it's kind of like the Jim Carrey movie, but I think Jeff Daniels is absolutely brilliant playing the straight man in it. And it's just the humor is really stupid, and it's got like a story which it follows, but it's kind of more like sketches that are sewn together. And I'm sorry, I love it.
Please don't give us a plot breakdown on this one.
No, you just keep apologizing because you should.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Matt,
whilst you guys
Matt,
hang on. Whilst you guys are talking, I'm going to find you a picture, which also makes me love Dumb and Dumber. But Matt, you talk about what is it you've done about Dark Knight? Tell us
The
about
Dark
that.
Knight, probably the second greatest superhero film ever made.
The
Heath
second?
Ledger is the second.
What's the first?
Well, you'll have to wait and see, my friend.
God, no.
Um,
Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Heath
Matt-
Ledger just knocks it out of the park. He makes the whole thing memorable.
Do you like his Joker more than the Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
Yeah,
Really?
I like Heath Ledger's Joker because he's more of an anarchist rather than just a lunatic with mental health problems, which is the Joker that he's now portrayed as. But he's just an anarchist, and as the film progresses, I personally found out that he kind of side with the Joker, and that Batman is actually a bit of a dick.
Right.
Because he's trying to expose everyone and the corruption, and Batman's fighting to keep it. So,
Right.
what the
Sorry
fuck am I
to
looking at?
sorry to interrupt. That is a photograph of Beast when I was about 17, and that was about 3 years before Dumb and Dumber came out.
Why do you look like Leonard Nimoy?
I
Is that
genuinely
Rose West
had.
next to you?
No, it's my mum. Shut up.
Oh,
Shut up. We've got a lovely patio. Genuinely, I actually had a chipped tooth, the same as Jim Carrey. And so again, that's one of those reasons I love Dumb and Dumber is because of
Can
how
we
much of
talk?
an idiot.
Can we talk about the movies again?
Sure, why not?
Anyway, Dark Knight, it's a superhero film that doesn't feel like a superhero film. And Sean, you're like this, it took a lot of inspiration from Heat. So it's a masterful film, really great film. And it stands the test of time. I mean, how old is it now? It's about 15 years old, isn't it?
2008.
Jesus, is it that
All
really
right.
that old?
Yeah.
And it's still magnificent. And again, Hans Zimmer with us, and Tom, is it Thomas Newton Howard or Thomas Howard Newton? He often gets left out when
Christian
he gets left out when we talk about the soundtracks with Hans Zimmer. But magnificent score, just a great.
I'm with you. A lot of practical effects in that. Didn't do a lot of digital stuff, and Heath Ledger. The thing I like about you asked Sean about his Joker. It's like the Joker's a lot of things, but he's never. He's always in control, and he's always the aggressor. He's always got a plan or lack of a plan, but he's never scared or like the way Joaquin Phoenix portrayed him. And I know it's like an origin story and everything, but he's never, how to explain it, like a wuss or whatever that was. And I get he's in pain and he's kind of weak. Joker's a lot of things. He's never weak. Let's put it that way.
Well, we know how you feel about people with mental illness now.
Yes.
They're weak pussies that can't get it together. All right.
Just talking
Sean,
about the Joker.
You know what?
The Wild Bunch.
I think the Joker would have been a perfect movie if it didn't have nothing to do with Batman. If it was just about a guy losing it, it would have been like no.
Yeah, but we already have.
Oh, no,
movie.
sorry.
It's called Taxi Driver.
Well, I
Oh,
know,
no.
but yeah.
I thought you were talking about Joker. Sorry, but you were talking about Heath Ledger's Joker as his own movie.
No, I meant the Joaquin Phoenix version. If it'd been just about a dude, yeah, I would have. I don't know. It didn't fit, like you said with the comic book. But yeah, the Wild Bunch, greatest ending, shoot 'em up, Blaze of Glory ever put on film. Probably the highest body count of anything too.
No, I still think that's Hot Shots.
Sam Peckinpah Western made during the Vietnam War. About aging outlaws that realize that their days are coming to an end and decide to go out in a blaze of glory over their friend. And goddamn, it's a great movie. It's a masterpiece. William Holden, dude, nobody's cooler than William Holden.
It is. Again, it's one of those. I think it's probably the highest on the list of westerns that we've got. But yeah, again, it's just one of those movies that you just the ending is just it's spectacular. It's just,
like 20 minutes of nonstop gunfire and dead Mexicans and just have you seen it, Matt?
No, mate.
He wants to.
I'll get it now.
You had him at dead Mexicans.
You'll love it. You'll love it, man.
Okie dokie. Then.
Well, it's on the list with that other Where's Willie or whatever it was called.
No, if you're going to watch one or the other, watch this one instead.
I'll watch them both.
Where's Willie?
Well, I can't remember what he was called. It's on the list.
Tell him Willow Boy was here.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, where's Waldo?
Brilliant.
It's very similar.
No, that sounds like a fat guy. Where's Willie? I don't know. Okay, number 14 then.
No, got one more.
What? Oh, Ood by Mist. Wild Bunch, Dumb and Dumber, Terminator, Dark Knight. Oh, Terminator.
I got Terminator on there. I just want to say I just said in my last one, I think Terminator 2 is better, and then we get to the next one, and I put Terminator above it. And that just goes to show you where I say I really. You ask me on whichever day, I don't know which one is better sometimes because they're both great.
I think you could easily put them both as like a tied spot, really.
Yeah, yeah. I all I know is everything after that is shit.
That's true.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mind Terminator Salvation.
What?
It's shit.
It didn't
mind it.
It's not as bad as Dark Fate. Bloody hell, that was just that's unbelievable. Unbelievable that was made.
Let's definitely not start down that path because
anyway, yeah. 14. Oh, it's Yoda. Look at this. Bloody hell. Right, okay. So we've got Saving Private Ryan for Yoda. We've got The Haunting for me, Aliens for Matt, and Big Trouble in Little China for Sean. How about Yoda? You make a start this time.
Saving Private Ryan. What's there to say? It's one of the greatest war films. So certainly the first 30 minutes are just an amazing moments. I know he talked to so many World War II veterans, and so while it obviously went a lot longer and there was things happening all over the place, these moments were moments that people saw or happened. And then the rest of the movie just really just showing what these guys went through and how to I don't know how much of the ending battle is legit or not. I'm not sure about that.
It's stupid. That would never happen. And you remember how angry the comment section got for me talking about this months ago? In reality, they would have just blown the bridge and left. That you're not going to take 18 guys and try to defend a bridge against a Panzer division that's going to overrun it. You're going to blow it and leave.
Sean, sorry. When did you see the end of this? Because you got thrown out for laughing in the first 30 minutes, didn't you?
No, that was Schindler's List. You always get these confused.
Sorry. Shit, Spielberg. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My point is that I think for the narrative and for the movie itself, it did what it was trying to do, which was honor World War II veterans and all that. And I really appreciate it for that. And it's visceral, even if that's shit at the end, it works.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great. Tactically retarded, but it's a great, and you get great scenes like him talking about the girl in the barn at the end, and they have a laugh over it. And the first few times you watch it, you laugh along with it. It's really funny story. And
when Hanks just loses it, and then he comes out, he says, "What's the pool up to?" And then he tells him about himself at the particular time. I'm a teacher, things like that. Just these little human moments that he sprinkles in with it, just really connects you to everybody. It's so great.
And you really want to kill. And you really want to kill Upham yourself by the end of the movie.
Yeah, but Upham, I think also wants to kill himself.
Yeah,
When he shoots that guy at the end, he knows what he could have done and what he didn't do. So I mean, these are humans. These are not heroes. These are people that are in a place they probably shouldn't be. Let's face it. And it's just like it works on all levels.
I'll say
For
two
me,
things.
anyway.
The opening scene of that is actually in my horror list, Sean.
Oh, no kidding.
It's in that.
It's a good. Yeah, I think that's
fair.
It's horrific. And secondly, without getting too political, all these people that keep going on about old white men and everything else, I'd like to fucking sit them in a room, strap them to a chair, and make them watch that.
Doesn't matter because they will say, well, the old white men are the ones that created the problem in the first place.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, did we touch on everything there? I mean, yeah, we've got Aliens, which we've talked about, Matt.
Yeah, we've done that, man.
The other one, The Haunting. Now, no, see, do you know what? The Haunting for me is it's a spectacularly well done movie. It's one of those films where it's just played out with just special effects and acting and directing.
Which one is that? Because is it the one from
the one with Liam Neeson?
Oh
no, that's just don't even get me started. The original,
okay, well that's the poster that's up here.
The original was, is that the picture you put up?
Yes.
Put the poster up, please, Sean.
You moron. Bloody hell.
Well, I mean, I'm not being funny, but you've had this fucking thing for like 4 days. If it was wrong, you should have let me know.
Yeah.
No, right. It's not that version. That version that Matt's put up is the worst thing you could possibly imagine.
Okay, because you were getting me to question your medication at that point. I'm sorry.
The original.
Let's be honest, mate. You've got Dumb and Dumber in this list, so
yeah.
Shut up. The original. The original.
Phil. Even katydids are said to dream. That's a line from the book. That's a line from the book. You illiterate, uneducated.
I've never read the book. Oh, when have I ever said I've read a book? Right. Anyway.
This is from the guy who posts a picture with a dead squirrel hanging out of his mouth.
It doesn't. It doesn't mean I'm not. It doesn't mean I'm not smarter than you guys.
I think it kind of does.
Anyway,
have you read the book? Have you read the book?
No, but I've never had a dead squirrel in my mouth either.
The Haunting, the original, 1963.
That's not what she said.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I apologize too. Go ahead.
The original 1963 Haunting is by Robert Wise, who also did Star Trek the movie and also The Sound of Music and West Side Story. But The Haunting is a fantastic just horror story, and it's told about a group of people are going to a haunted house to investigate it. And one of the women has mildly sort of psychic powers, but the house seems to want her to stay there. And it is.
Or does it? Or does it?
Well, yeah. I mean, to me, though, The Haunting is there are scenes in that which still give me chills watching it now, where there's this one scene with the two ladies.
The lesbian scene.
No, not the lesbian scene. That's a completely different movie. But there is two scenes where there are two girls who have got an adjoining room, and one of them hears banging on the wall. So she comes into the other's room, and just through the acting of these two actresses, as this banging goes up and down the door, and then back to the door and bangs on the door. And the way it's done, there's no kind of music to it and everything else, and it just gives you chills. It's proper scary. As opposed to just jump scares and stuff like that. I love the original Haunting. It is an absolute masterpiece in horror. Masterpiece.
If it is a masterpiece, and if you'd read the book, she keeps repeating a line, it journeys in when lovers meet. And at the end, spoilers, she dies and becomes part of the house. And so it kind of, But I won't bring that up since it's the book, and you guys are apparently not capable of reading books.
Unless it's a picture book, I'm not going to read it. Right? Okay. So number 13 is it now? We're on.
No. You got a couple more here in 14.
Haunting.
Big Trouble in Little
China.
China.
Sorry, Sean. Big Trouble in Little China.
Dude,
I keep this up here?
Yeah, what's not to like about it, man? John Carpenter's one of his many early masterpieces. It's a lot. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Kurt Russell is actually what you think is the hero. It turns out he's actually the comedy relief sidekick. He doesn't realize that in the movie, but he is. And it's so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
I love the fact that just nobody is taking the whole thing seriously. Everybody's just there to have fun. And they do throughout the whole thing. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I kind of like the Lo Fang. Is that his name? And he's like, 2 women with green eyes. Well, change the plan.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
He just rolls with it. I love it.
It's a great movie.
And with good kung fu and everything else. And it's soon to be ruined. And soon to be ruined by The Rock because he wants to remake it.
Oh, he doesn't, does he?
Yeah.
Can that man keep his nose out of anything?
No.
Nope. Anything to say about Aliens, Matt?
It's good.
No, nothing. We've already said. Let's skip on to 13. Unlucky 13.
13. So we have got for number 13. Yoda has got Return of the Jedi. I've got Amelie. Sean has got Taxi Driver, and Matt has got Jaws. Return of the Jedi, Yoda.
I don't want to go too deep into it. I mean, Star Wars trilogy is always going to be near the top of my list. I put this down quite a bit further just because it doesn't do Leia and Han very well. It does, they don't have a lot to do, but boy, does it stick the ending for Luke.
Yeah. A proper full character arc of a story from a humble farm boy to a full-on Jedi.
Oh,
yeah. Excellent. So, the whole trilogy is, and it's the only trilogy that exists in Star Wars world.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Ended on indoors, they say.
I'm going to say I watched Amelie again the other day, and I love Jean-Pierre Jeanet's direction. His style is beautiful, but this is kind of a love story, I suppose. But it's just this wonderful story about this girl and the world she lives in, and I just love it. I think it's brilliant. It's bizarre. It's weird. It asks kind of interesting questions about life, I think. And it's a weird movie, but I absolutely love Amelie. I think it's brilliant. And again, it's just one of those films I think is perfect. You can't fault it. There's nothing in there that bores me or anything. You're captivated by this entire thing. My favorite part of it is the fact that her dad never leaves the house and sort of never leaves anywhere. And he's got a gnome that he put on his wife's ashes in the garden. So she steals the gnome and gives it to a friend of hers who flies around the world taking photos. So the gnome sends her dad postcards from like Rome and all these different places. Oh, wow. But then the dad sort of learns that he can't, be like that. He can't be scared. He needs to go out and see the world for himself. And so he kind of learns from this gnome to do that. And it's a beautiful movie. I love Amelie. Yeah, it's great.
I haven't seen it probably since it came out, and I remember liking it, but I've never revisited it. I should. I know I liked it, but it's been so long.
And then Sean, you've got Taxi Driver.
He's literally me.
So how old is your Jodie Foster?
It's very great, man. We watch a guy much younger. We watch a guy slowly lose it, and then it ends in a beautiful, violent ending. It's just a great movie. Very seedy 70s, sleazy New York City. Man, it's great.
To be fair, he protected Jodie Foster, but you're kind of intimidating like he's Joe Biden. He's not.
Yeah, he's not. yeah. He was trying, he protects her because it's plan B. His plan A fails. His attempted assassination of a politician.
Right, that's true.
Then he's like, well, shit, I guess
I suck as an assassin. I guess I'll be a protector.
Yeah.
I've got a confession.
You've never seen
it. Never seen it. It's one of those films where I've seen so many clips and bits of it, and I've heard so much about it that I've
kind of worked out what the story is.
You kind of feel like I've watched it without watching it, and I'm ashamed.
It's like watching the trailer for Avatar.
Matt, it's great. Yeah. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I know it is, mate. It's just one of those films that I don't know. I just never got around to seeing it.
Sean's right. It is great, and I've seen it a couple times, and it's Yeah, it's one of those that sinks into you. It just come out of it going, wow.
Just
I
before
must
we
make it
go on,
right.
I've just looked up. We have still got 3 weeks until Halloween. So what I'm thinking is we're on number 13 now. How about we get to number 11 today, and then we talk about our top 10 next week?
No,
let's get through this.
let's finish it off
Okay.
because we
Let's wrap it up.
we hyped this up, so let's do it today. Even if we run a little
I appreciate it, but we want to get this done because
Right.
you're throwing off my
12
whole snippets thing, man. Jaws,
We're probably
Matt,
reaching a
anything
point.
to add?
No, I think we're probably reaching a point where we're going to have a lot of duplicates coming up now. So
I think so
we
too.
can-
So it should go a little
Right.
faster.
Okay,
Let's
no,
go.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. But if you guys want to carry on,
Stop trying to independently think, Phil.
Yoda, Star Trek 2, me, Team America, Matt, Fight Club, and Sean, Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler's an interesting choice, Sean.
Yes, it's very much like Taxi Driver in a lot of ways, but guy's a complete psychopath that'll do anything to get ahead, and he discovers his niche in the world is going out and finding real accidents and crime and videotaping it for cable news. And there's no depth that he won't sink to get his shot, and he ends up causing a lot of mayhem and carnage. It's fucking and probably his best performance. Like, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, he like really.
Jake Gyllenhaal is good, but like you say in that, he's not the kind of person you ever want to meet.
Well, that's debatable, but
Sean, tell me if you agree with this real quick. I always thought Nightcrawler, like, if this could easily be an 80s comedy if you just turned the tone to comedy, and you would have the exact same beats of a slob making good. But if you turn it to evil, then you get Nightcrawler.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
You've mentioned this before, yeah.
I always think like this could easily be the slob making good and bad things happen to bad people. But if you turn it to comedy, you root for the guy. But in the way they portray it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is really horrifying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think of Revenge of the Nerds, Oh, then it was rape, but it's kind of funny because they're all lovable.
Yeah.
But in here,
yeah, it's the villain protagonist is what you got in this one. And unlike Travis Bickle, he's like irredeemable completely.
oh, he absolutely is. It's a complete horrifying.
It's great. It's great. It's fucking modern masterpiece.
Yoda, I mean, like I say, we've mentioned Star Trek 2. Unless there's anything you want to add.
I think as I said, it's the best Star Trek movie ever made.
Matt, Fight Club.
Amazing film. Again, a good 90s fight violence, and I like that it upset so many people when it came out as well, which was awesome. I'm a big Brad Pitt fan, you know that, so I think I've got a couple of his films in my top 25. It's just an all-round great film, and it's got that nice little twist that quite a few people surprised didn't see coming.
I would be careful who you showed that to. The person that wrote that might come into the office with an Armalite AR-10 carbine, semi-auto gas-operated gun pumping round after round.
That whole scene with his boss where he kicks his own ass, and then he just says, at the most beautiful moment, the security walked in, and he's like, oh, and stuff. And
there's so many good quotes in that film that it still resonates today as well about the lost generation. And,
it may
the all singing, all dancing crap of the world.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. It's just fantastic from start to finish. Helen Bonham Carter is just amazing in it.
I hate her.
And you get
that's something I never hear out loud.
And you get Jared. Is it Jared Leto getting beaten to fuck in it as well? So everyone's a winner.
That's right.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Robert Paulson,
who he's really dead, and he's really dead now too. So
poor old meat.
His name was Meatloaf. His name was Meatloaf.
My interesting fact about Fight Club is the fact that Edward Norton's character didn't have a name.
No, he didn't. Just the narrator.
He's just the narrator. Yeah. I mean, again, I think Fight Club is an absolute masterpiece.
I love the Chinese ending. Have you seen that where they
were all brought up?
Oh yeah,
and it was all a happy ending. The authorities won.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
sorry, yeah.
Way to blow up the theme of the entire
Yeah.
movie.
But again, the bit that gets me as well is the bit where Brad Pitt's looking at the camera and talking to the camera, and the camera starts to shake, and the film goes out of sync. And I remember seeing it in the cinema and sort of thinking, hang on, has something gone wrong here? You know, and it just messes with your head.
It's the flash up with a dick at the end as well.
Yeah, that's right. And again, in the cinema, you see that flash, and you see people going,
and your kid starts crying as well.
Yeah.
It's magnificent. It really is a truly magnificent film.
Okie dokie then. So number 11.
Now you got to pick yours there.
Number 12. What have I done?
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Team America.
Team America. Oh, Team America. Oh, it's kind of what I was just going to say. It's one of those films that I watched again recently, and I had forgotten how brilliant Matt Stone and Trey Parker are in what they do. Some people sort of say they don't care. I think they care a lot, but they kind of don't care that they care. And so in just the way that the whole film is put together, how unbelievably offensive it is, like in France at the beginning, you've got these French kids just running along singing Frère Rougeaca.
Matt,
the Film Actors Guild?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Matt, tell me that France isn't a real place. I refuse to believe that those people are real.
I wish it wasn't, Sean, but it is. And talking of French, Scum of Bourgeois, I can't say it, has just arrived as well.
Oh, nice of you to join us with only a few minutes ago.
France's real place, unfortunately. I think it only exists so we can continually kick their asses for another couple of centuries.
I think as well with Team America, in the opening sequence, you've got the best kung fu artist out of Detroit against one of these Iran guys, and the fight is just sort of and there's like no effort made whatsoever, and their sense of humor is just funny. And Kim Jong-un singing, and every now and then I break into Round Ray, I'm so Round Ray. And it's just it's absolutely Team America. It's hilarious and offensive, and it's brilliant.
Disavow.
Well, she says, I'll only have sex with you if you promise not to die.
I promise. I will never die.
And have you ever seen the extended cut of the sex scene in that?
Oh, it goes on forever.
They're like shitting on each other and all sorts of stuff. It's horrendous. Okie dokie then.
What blows me away, one last thing, what blows me away about that movie is like they really went that extra step where the actors and the elite and all that were literally against America, against the West. And that's actually what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've gone that far now. And they thought, okay, this was satire. It's like, not anymore, Nate.
No, they knew it back then.
They knew it.
Yeah, they knew it. They just come.
You say they don't care, but no, they don't care who they piss off. They do care about their craft.
No, that's what I mean. It's kind of, people say they don't care, but they do care about it, and they make sure that everybody knows. And they're just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Okay, so number 11. This has got 11. We've got Ghostbusters for Yoda, Shawshank Redemption for me, American Psycho for Sean, and Goodfellas for Matt. Yoda, Ghostbusters. What's it about?
It's about family, and I think that's what's most important.
What about a black one? How could he be family?
Wait a minute. Family.
Family.
I'm doing the Carrie Fisher after Last Jedi. It's about family. I mean, what can you say? It's endlessly repeatable, endlessly quotable, funny every time.
Perfect movie.
Perfect movie. Yeah. I never not laugh when he turns on the nuclear accelerator in the elevator and then moves back 4 inches. Like, that's going to make a difference.
And again, you've got a perfect cast of, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, and the black one.
Ernie Hudson. Show some respect, man.
But no, again, you have this. You have got this perfect cast of people that just work together absolutely brilliantly. You will never find a better comedy set of people like that. It's brilliant.
No, it is, and it's like I said, I can watch it at any time, and I will always enjoy it.
Weirdly, I've just done a review of Mr. Harrigan's Phone by Stephen King, which is an absolute pile of crap. But another short story was Shawshank Redemption, which, again, to me, is just this perfect character arc of a story of an innocent man who goes to jail, but then what?
Prison rape.
Spoilers? Yeah, there's lots of prison rape in it. But again, he goes through this story and manages to escape the confines of what. Again, it's a brilliantly done film, absolutely brilliant, and it's quite horrific in places because it's not fun. But I love Shawshank. You just can't.
The bum.
Weirdly, one of the most hopeful films ever made, considering the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a perfect. I would argue it's a perfect film, except for this. Tim Robbins is an asshole, but it's a perfect movie.
Yeah,
he does a good job.
He does. You got to give credit where it's due. You know.
Yep.
What I always love as well is the fact that Clancy Brown, who plays this psychotic, but he. I always love the fact that he then went on to play SpongeBob SquarePants' boss in the Krabby Patty in SpongeBob SquarePants, because it's kind of like, oh, who could we get to play his boss? Oh, you know that psychotic warder who's also the Kang from what's he called from Highlander? What about him?
Kurgan, yeah.
Hey, credit where it's due. He was the best Lex Luthor ever.
Yep.
Clancy Brown.
And what
he was the voice of Lex Luthor in the animated
ones.
Best one ever. Like Mark Hamill is a Joker. He's the best Luthor. No doubt. Hands down, no doubt.
Matt, Goodfellas. I've heard you like Goodfellas.
As far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a good fella.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant, isn't it? Magnificent film from start to finish. Scorsese, probably his very best as well, I would say. And no,
you haven't seen Taxi Driver yet, though. So
yeah, I know, but I'll still be in the Goodfellas cult. Yeah. It's just brilliant. The cast is brilliant all round, and the narration and Ray Liotta, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Soundtrack is brilliant. It's one of, people always say, The Godfather is the blueprint for best.
Karen, that's all I had. Karen.
It's a magnificent film. There's nothing I can't say too much about it.
It's a perfect film.
I was going to say the weird casting of Joe Pesci, who plays this unbelievably psychotic guy in it, but again he's kind of like bastard. But he's the bad guy in Home Alone. Yeah, and again it's kind of brilliant casting, because you don't think an actor can get away with something like that, but he does it so well.
I thought you said I'm good, Spider. I thought you said I'm good, Spider. It's from the movie, man.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
These guys say that
bit. What is that? What part is that in now?
The guy when Christopher Moltisanti from The Sopranos gets shot in the foot and then he blows it.
Yeah.
This is in his top 25 list, Yoda, but he doesn't even recognize scene from the movie.
I do.
Was this the one with Robert De Niro?
I memorize fucking lines. Yeah, De Niro's in it.
I do understand when he says that's the best Scorsese movie. And then you say, "Oh no, you haven't seen Taxi Driver." It's like, boy, it's like trying to pick your favorite flavor of ice cream. I don't know.
Sorry. No, you're completely wrong. Martin Scorsese's best movie was Shark Tale, where he did the voiceover.
Hey, I love Wolf of Wall Street.
That's a lot of fun too.
I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio was ever funnier than when he tried to wander around on Quaaludes that were mess.
I had no idea.
Margot Robbie's beaver.
Who knew that he could be so funny anyway?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So, Sean, one of those movies which I figure you sort of as a drawing board for you, American Psycho.
He's literally me.
Yeah.
You're a stupid,
you don't make that much money. You're not that well dressed.
You're a stupid, ugly bitch. I want to stab you and play with your blood. Hey, you know what? At
least buy me dinner first.
It is absolutely a great movie. It's, you know, a guy losing his mind in the 80s. He's a, you know, company, big time Wall Street dude. He's a serial killer.
It's kind of a dark comedy, isn't it?
It
really?
is. Yeah, it's a dark comedy. The book is not, but the movie is better than the book. This is a case of the movie is better and more entertaining than the book.
Better than American Psycho 2?
Nah, I don't know. Well, you know, spoilers, you know, my list isn't over yet. But yeah.
I actually looked then and thought,
wow, look at the audience has just dropped down at us.
3 went from like 10 to 3 all of a sudden.
Okay, so let's move.
Very violent. We get to see Christian Bale chase a whore down with a chainsaw and drop it on her from like 5 stories up and kill. Oh, it's great movie.
It is,
and we got to thank so many gifts for that as well.
Yeah,
so many.
Okay, so let's move into our top 10. Right, sorry, that's only a joke Matt's going to get. Yoda, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Me is Ringu. Raiders of the Lost Ark for Matt, and The Thing again, much higher up this time for Sean. I'll start. Ringu is a Japanese horror, and when I originally watched it on VHS, funny enough, all I knew about it was teenagers would watch a video, they would get a phone call, and 7 days later they would die, and that's all I knew about it. And on our channel we've got Mark Commode, who's a bellend of a film critic over here, who introduces it by telling you the end. And like I say, I knew nothing about it, and you think the film finishes and that she solves the mystery of this ring and she saves the day, but then the film doesn't finish. And now, spoilers, because I mean everybody kind of knows it now because of the American remake, the scene at the end where the guy's at home and the TV comes on and you sort of think, that's weird. And then this well appears, which is to do with this video. And the girl comes out of the well and then crawls out of the TV. I genuinely didn't sleep for a week. It was terrifying.
A legit scary movie moment for reals.
It was the way the story was told, because like you say, you think it's over and done with. Everything's fine. We've solved the mystery. And then when he dies, and like I say, when she came at the TV, I genuinely just remember squirming on the sofa and just like I say, I couldn't sleep. It was absolutely brilliant. I did watch it again recently in the last year or so, and it kind of lost a little bit of that.
It's a one and done kind of, like the magic is gone. But it's
great.
great.
The American version.
When it's great, but when you see it the first time, it hits with the sledgehammer impact.
You think the American one is good or not?
It's all right. Yeah. It's
a solid remake, but just it was not. I didn't think it was a patch on the original. I think it was.
Honestly, everybody talked about it. The girl came out of TV. I was like, nothing. I felt nothing. I didn't care. I don't know why. It just did
is
not,
that the American one?
You're so dead.
I'm dead inside. Apparently. I don't know what. I did not get it. I did not get why everybody was freaking out about it.
The bit that in the American version, what I do remember is when she's coming out of the TV, they actually cut away to Naomi Watts, I think it is, and she's trying to chase through traffic to get to him. And to me, that kind of took it out. Whereas in the original, he's just in this small flat, and just there's no cuts away or anything else. She just comes out of the TV, and it was terrifying.
It's very intense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I think I couldn't get past the idea of haunted VHS tape. I was like, just rewind it. What's the problem here?
Okay, Yoda, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah, this is probably the oldest movie on the list, and I watched it way back when. I really loved it, but there was some parts of it that I didn't really think were possible in this day and age because of the way in the story. He's a senator. He's a federal senator, but he's from the state, whatever state's unnamed. And this one guy kind of runs the state. And he controls all the news media there. And so he's able to really keep the message the way he wants it. And when I first saw it, probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was like, with the internet and everything, it'd be hard to keep that message down. Now I realize that is really much more possible than it's ever been. It's way worse than it's ever been. And the movie just hits me even harder than it did back then. And I think it was a fantastic classic back then. So he basically filibusters in the Senate to try to get the message out that this guy is crooked and he's running the state. And he's got a lot of graft going on. Same problems that we have now. I mean, I feel like it's still timely. And there's like all these moments where like he gets interviewed by the press and the press doesn't take him seriously, but he comes and he's authentic with them and they shit on him and lie about him in the press. And then he goes and he starts punching out reporters, just goes and just socks someone. And I'm like going, yeah, you beat the shit out. So I don't know. It considering it was made in 1939 or 1938 and it's more timely now than it was 20 years ago is sad to me, but it's still a great movie.
Excellent.
You've got a lot of old classics on your list, Yoda.
Yeah, well, I'm a eclectic kind of guy.
He wants to
He's
seem
an old man.
he wants to seem smarter than us with his.
Either that or I'm older than all of you.
I watch things in black and white, so yes, I'm much more intellectual than you. Matt, you've got Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, what a film, eh? What a film. Just, again, magnificent from start to finish.
Yeah.
It's not just the fact it's got a good story that you follow all the way through, but the photography, the bit when he meets Karen Allen for the first time and he goes to walk out and just the light catches his eye and just it's Spielberg at his most absolute best, in my opinion.
Now, what do you guys? Let me ask you, Matt. What do you think that of the meme that Indiana Jones is superfluous to his own movie? They would have all died at the end anyway.
Yeah. Again, it ended with The Last Crusade. These people need to know when to stop. But it's a beautiful movie. It's fantastic. Sorry, go on, Yoda.
No, I mean within the story. The Nazis would have gotten the Ark and they would have opened it and they all would have died anyway. It didn't matter. Yeah. Indiana Jones did not matter in this story.
I see what you're saying.
It could have been it could have been 20 minutes.
Who made that meme? Someone's just cynical who made that meme.
I don't know. It'd been around for a while. I think they did it on Big Bang Theory or something. But in the end, if you think about it, it's like he has no purpose in that movie.
He does get the Ark at the end of the day and gives it back to
he brings it. The only thing that he does is bring the Ark back to be put into a giant warehouse where it's forgotten. That's it. He's UPS.
Not to take away the credit of this, but I did love the fact I did love the one with Family Guy where it's got Indy and Marion tied to the pole and all these demons are flying around. And he goes, Marion, whatever you do, don't open your eyes. And she goes, oh, Indy, by the way, I'm pregnant. Well, just open one eye.
I just watched a documentary on Disney Plus called Light and Magic, which is obviously about industrial light and magic. And it goes into all the special effects that was created for, obviously, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and they've done the Terminator 2 as well. And it's worth checking out the documentary. But the special effects involved for the face melting scene of the Nazi with a black hat, I can't remember his name. They actually built a face with muscle tissue and eyes and everything else, and then slowly melted it off layer by layer.
Talk about time-lapse photography.
Oh, just
a weird
genius.
one.
And special effects and the stuntman work under the car. You know, it's just no CGI, all real practical effects, all well thought out. And is there a movie out there that's got better sound effects for someone punching someone else in the face?
No. And the gunfire
Perfect.
sounds amazing too. It sounds like cannons going off. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a great film, and it's one of those films that if you make the mistake of channel surfing about 10 o'clock at night before you're going to bed, or you wait for the wife, and you come across it, you're like, bollocks, I'm now up till 2 in the morning.
I legit never laughed harder, I think, in my young movie-going life when they came out at that time, than when Indy just shot the sword guy. It's the greatest fuck it moment I've ever seen in my life.
Matt, you'll appreciate the fact that one of the bad guys, one of the Nazis, was also in Porridge. the TV series.
Oh,
with Ronnie Barker.
yeah. Who wrote an
Ron-
article about it?
Ronald Lacey, I think it was. This is completely random. There's a TV series over in the UK called Porridge, which was like a comedy set in a prison, and with a brilliant British comedian called Ronnie Barker. But one of the bad guys was in that, and he was quite a weedy character in Porridge. And then seeing him as this Nazi was kind of, it was weird. But it was. But again, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you can't fault it in any way.
Perfect movie.
It's just
Perfect movie. Perfect movie. Yep.
Okie dokie then. So we are on to number 9. Yes, number 9.
Number 9. Bring it up.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade for Yoda. Me, Lord of the Rings as the trilogy. Sean, Heat, and Matt, Matrix.
And one last thing on number 10. Sean, you had The Thing, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Oh,
just skip the. Yeah, if it doubles up, just skip it. As far as I'm concerned,
I just wanted to make a mention.
So let's go on then with Indiana Jones. Yoda, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the last of the series.
And there was never any others, which was nice.
They really stuck to that. Thank God.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
I mean, you literally cannot end a trilogy better than them riding off into the sunset.
No, and
Truly.
Indiana Jones' dad is freaking James Bond, the best James Bond there ever was. I mean, I don't know. It works just as well, I think, as the first one. I would say the only thing I have that I would probably, I think it lost a tiny bit of edge. I don't know if it was making Marcus kind of a buffoon or some other things I didn't quite like, but for the most part, it's great. He chose quality.
And also, how unbelievably hot is Alison Doody?
Unbelievably hot.
Is that blonde German bird?
Yes.
Yep. Like to get her right in her duty hole.
Unbelievable.
I'd let her pee in my butt.
Just to bring us back down to Sean's level. So, Sean, Heat, Michael Mann's Heat.
Yeah, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, Robert De Niro, greatest heist movie ever made, greatest firefighting ever made.
Greatest moment between those two, just having a quiet talk in a cafe, knowing what's all been going on. I mean, that tense moment, it's just great.
Great movie.
Two great actors at the top of their game.
Heavily influenced by The Dark Knight, Sean.
That's what you said earlier there.
Yeah. We were all here. We've mentioned the Matrix, and again the kind of the influence that it's had. For me, I put in the Lord of the Rings, like I say, as a trilogy, because again, it's kind of one of those films I don't watch on its own. I think I did sit down and do the 9-hour version of it the other day.
Yeah,
again, it's a brilliant story of
boring
friendship and of camaraderie.
Fucking boring.
No, it's
taking on the enemy and.
No, you want to see boring? Watch The Rings of Power on Amazon.
Yeah, that's proper boring.
You'll find out what fucking boring is.
The only thing the only mild complaint about I have is that Peter Jackson overuses the CG and sort of so you have cameras flying down through stuff, and I think sometimes that's overly done. When you think of something like The Shining, when there's kind of there's a few tracking shots, but I mean there's nothing kind of like that. I think that's a little bit overused, but overall it's a brilliantly told story. It's absolutely fantastic.
It would be a perfect trilogy if it had more people of color and gay trans in it.
That's probably what it needed.
That's what it
Rings of Power.
You've got that now.
Yeah,
your wish is granted.
I know.
Sean.
Yes,
And the fact that you like Lord of the Rings just proves the writers that you're patently evil.
Yeah. Well,
I am.
Yeah.
Patently evil.
Well, I've only got to watch this.
It's Sean's
got to watch this show.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So number 8. Back Ferris Bueller's Day Off for Yoda. Back to the Future for me. Again, I say it's a trilogy, but no, I'm kind of more to the first one with that. Hamburger Hill for Sean, and then 7 for Matt. 7 is brilliant. Matt, tell us about it.
Brad Pitt again, David Fincher again, and again, one of those films that is just riddled with filth and nastiness that you can't take your eyes off. You've just got to watch it. The sloth scene. I don't get jumps and scares and from films. At that sloth scene, I was like, "Fucking hell, that's just one of the worst things I've ever."
It's another exploitation film that's pretending to be, not
mainstream.
But it is. It's great. It's fucking great.
Oh, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And again, it's pretty much ageless. I mean, we've just had the Batman, which was heavily influenced from Seven, and what's in the box? What's in the box?
It's just such a good ending.
Great, great film. And I'm glad they've never done a sequel.
It's his wife's head.
I mean,
is it?
Thank you, Sean. Brilliant. Well done, sir. You truly are an intellect to be reckoned with. Again, it's kind of one of those scenes where if they actually showed what was in the box, it would have completely ruined it. Absolutely ruined it.
Yeah.
And they just didn't need to do it.
But I kind of wish there was a scene though that cut to like Gwyneth Paltrow's head. And
I was gonna say this Gwyneth Paltrow. That would be kind of visceral and fun.
No, I don't mean that. No. I don't mean that as a joke. Although that is a funny joke.
Thank you.
I like the horror of seeing this. I just for a second, a flash to it. I think would have.
You do get a flash
of her face and everything.
Yeah.
It's just like a little bit of hair. I think.
Yeah,
no, it's her face. I've paused it. It's her face, like the dick things from Fight Club.
No,
if you watch it, you watch that last bit. There's literally a split second of her face.
Is he fucking with me?
No, I swear to God, man.
I'm just having a lot of concerns. I'm just having a lot of concerns with Matt going frame by frame. Where's her face? Where's her head?
Give me the tissues. Give me the tissues. Give me the tissues.
That whole thing is very orange and browns and dusty, isn't it? And then all of a sudden there's a pure white flash up. So I paused it, and it's actually
no shit. Oh man, I'm gonna
find it while you carry on talking.
All right,
that's cool. Man.
I've put down Back to the Future. Because it's just, Back to the Future is one of those films where if you think about it too much, none of it makes any sense.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because it is pure entertainment from beginning to end. From that opening scene with the speaker to the whole flying car, you just can't. You don't get better than this as entertainment.
It's the best It's the best incest movie ever made.
True. Almost.
That's next week.
Almost.
And everyone.
I think the scene with Doc and Marty, trying to get to beat the lightning, and Doc is trying so hard, and then he finally gets the thing, and he pulls it out. And he has to, it's one of the greatest moments of building up tension I've ever seen in a movie.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it's a great film.
You can, like I say, you can't fault Back to the Future. It's the film that got me skateboarding as a kid because when it came out, I was 10 and I wanted a skateboard after that because Marty had a skateboard.
Yeah,
and it also wanted me to get a time machine as well.
Hanging on to the back of cars on skateboards, it's a bad idea, guys.
My friend who passed away earlier this year, his neighbor has a DeLorean that is still mint, and he still drives it. Would you believe in Armpit, West Virginia, there's a dude that drives around a mint DeLorean?
I believe he probably bought it at the time.
He did.
He did. No, yeah.
He's a lawyer or something, and he bought it back then, and he's just maintained it. And it's perfect.
I'd get one if I could.
I would too.
One of my old neighbours has got one. I've got a picture of me and the kids sitting in it.
That's cool.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
he's cool.
It's great. So, Yoda, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one of John Hughes' great films.
Yeah, there's a lot of John Hughes films I could have picked from. I love The Breakfast Club and all that, but I don't know. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I think it's kind of like you can watch it on the surface level and it's great, but I love the idea that perhaps Ferris Bueller doesn't exist.
I knew you was going to go that way. I knew.
I love that idea. I don't know why. It's just it gives a whole new spin on the movie, and it's just hilarious from beginning to end. It works for me, and it's sincere.
Mia Sarah is in it. Is the
Mia Sarah is hot. Is all get out in it. So
she is a nuclear missile.
Yeah. And
It is-
if Cameron is hallucinating at all, why wouldn't he hallucinate Amia Sarah?
Yeah,
That's true.
I do love Ferris Bueller. It's great. I love the random musical bit in the middle of it. It's so at random, but just
Yeah.
it works so wonderfully well. It's great. Sean, Hamburger Hill.
Yeah, greatest.
It's a story of McDonald's, isn't it?
That's about how the founder.
The story of Ray Kroc.
It's amazing story. Who knew that there was so many deaths involved in McDonald's?
Is that where they get their meat from?
Not from cholesterol, but
But yeah, no. Tell us about it.
It is based on a real battle in Vietnam by the 101st Airborne, and we follow this company as they try to fight their way up a mountain in Vietnam. It's a pretty simple story, but you get to know all these guys before they get started, and we see them die one at a time as they keep trying to take this hill. And it's the best Vietnam War movie to come out of the 80s, better than Platoon. It's a great movie. It's very realistic gear. Good attention was paid to all the details too. It's great. Very brutal. A lot of people think it's like more depressing than all the other anti-war Vietnam movies at the time, and that's probably true. But it's a great movie. You should check it out if you've never seen it.
You were thoroughly entertained by it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I think it's great.
Okie dokie. Then let's move on then to number 7. I've got Hot Fuzz. Yoda's got Back to the Future, just one ahead of me. Sean is Hard Boiled, and then we've got Predator again by Matt. Okay, Sean, tell us about Hard Boiled.
It is a Hong Kong action movie with Chow Yun-fat playing Detective Tequila, and he's like a one-man army. And
who's his partner in the picture?
That's your last girlfriend, according to the police.
His lover.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the poster, I immediately think, I see a poster like that and immediately think comedy.
Yeah, I know.
It's John Woo. Is it really?
It's unfortunate, but yeah, at one point in the end they have to evacuate a hospital because there's a giant gun battle going in, and he saves a baby. I don't know why they chose that for that cover, but it is probably the best shoot 'em up ever made, and it has the best long take shoot 'em up sequence ever put on film. I
do remember that. Yeah,
absolute masterpiece of action. You got to see it if you've never seen it before. It is just it's a thrill ride. It's a thrill a minute.
So why did they put the baby in the poster? Because when I
don't
done
know.
these graphics, I was thinking this is a wind up, and I searched for about 15 minutes, and I was like, oh.
I don't know.
I thought it was a comedy. Looking at that, I think Jimmy thought you put a comedy in there.
No, I don't know why they chose that for that picture, because it's a short part. I mean, he rescues the baby at the end. It's sort of like the last thing he does is he.
So not only does it sell it as that, but it's also a spoiler as well.
Yeah, I guess so. It's
for all you know, he kills the baby from the cover. We don't know.
Yeah, he is. He's Chinese. They eat weird stuff over there.
Yeah.
It was born. I tell you what it is. The baby was female, and it was born during the one-child policy that China had. Oh no!
Brilliant.
It's a great movie, guys. I mean, it's probably one of the best action movies ever made, in my opinion. It's not, it don't have a bunch of car chases and stuff, but that, in John Woo fashion, like the gunfights are like ballet with. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of doves?
I think there's a few.
There should be, because John Woo always has the doves.
Yeah.
All right, Boba, talk about Hot Fuzz.
I was going to say we mentioned Back to the Future and Predator. Hot Fuzz is easily the favorite of my Cornetto trilogy because obviously you've got Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then At the World's End. I thought The World's End was pretty weak.
The weakest. Yeah.
I like Shaun of the Dead, but Hot Fuzz for me just absolutely nailed the comedy, the action, and it's just hilarious. It's just absolutely brilliant, and the attention to detail of everything. It's just, I absolutely love Hot Fuzz. It's Simon Pegg at his peak.
Say Aaron A. Aronson using that accent.
Aaron A. Aronson?
It's not. He didn't.
Aaron A. Aronson? Because he's like Devon.
Yeah.
Aaron A. Aronson?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, a guy gets stabbed by a church. It's fantastic.
To the
That's
roof
cool.
of his the worst James Bond gets stabbed.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that
I'll
is
disagree
this-
on that. I like
I
Tom.
know,
There's
know.
worse James Bonds.
It was just a joke. Come on, take it easy.
I love the fact of it. It's just this really hurts.
Yeah, he's not, oh shit,
Does
he's
it?
not dead.
and just like I say, the whole thing is brilliant. And also, again, I love it because it was filmed just up the road from me. Again, if you do a search on the
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
website, I've
yeah.
actually
We
done a-
know. We
Hey,
know.
I'm just saying, it's great. Number 6.
Number 6. Hold on, I wasn't ready. I thought you were going to talk about the other
Alrighty,
two.
yeah. Oh,
All right, just a
Hag.
me,
Fascist.
Blues Brothers, Matt, Back to the Future, Sean, Dawn
Yeah.
of the Dead, and Yoda, E.T. So we've mentioned Back to the Future, Matt. Sorry, but yeah.
No, that's
Sean,
fine, man. That's fine. I told you we're going to get crossovers.
Sean, Dawn of the Dead.
Dummies.
Which, remind us which one that is.
Dummies. That is the original 1979 Dawn of the Dead, which is probably the gold standard for all zombie movies.
Movies, yeah.
Very creepy, legit creepy. It's good. Special effects in it are really not that great as far as the makeup and stuff goes, but it doesn't matter. It's great. It is a watch. There's a million cuts of the movie, but the best one you find on YouTube for free, and it's called The Mall Hours, and it's a fan edited. All the different versions are re-edited, all the cut scenes, and it's like 3.5 hours long. But it's
Oh my god.
yeah, it's great. It's
George Romero and his hatred of capitalism is on
Yeah.
full display.
yeah, it is yes, it's communist propaganda, but it's great. You get to see a guy get his head blown off by the shotgun.
It's fun.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I'm gonna ask a horrible question here, but is that the one in the mall?
Yes, and I've been to that
Okay.
mall. I've actually been to that mall. Like
Oh,
you going-
boring. That's what
Just
you
like-
just said to me when I went to Fuzz.
But this is in America, so it matters.
Damn, we're gonna have World War II here.
Yoda, E.T. You soppy old git.
Yeah, pretty much. If you don't cry at ET, you're a soulless monster. I don't care what anybody says.
I never cried.
Or
even
an
when I was a
alpha.
kid. Yeah.
Nah, you're soulless. Sorry. You get-
It's about Whoopi Goldberg molesting a little boy
That's a
with her
very
f-
different movie.
with her
than I'm
finger.
thinking of.
You telling me that
ET is ET. Oh, look, I did a whole video on it. You could go watch it. So they're celebrating 1982, but basically it's Spielberg at his best. It's his transition movie between doing things that he would later do, like Empire of the Sun, Saving Private Ryan, and his feel good classics like Close Encounters and Raiders of the Lost Ark and things like that. So I mean, I think it's great. I think it's kind of a forgotten movie, but I think part of its charm is that nobody ever tried to reboot or make a sequel out of it. Thank God.
What about the
it's-
computer game?
it's weird that it is kind of
Fantastic.
forgotten. It is weird because it is kind of forgotten when it was a huge cultural thing at the time. I
It
remember
was enormous.
like it sold a
Yeah.
lot of Reese's Pieces. I remember that. Yeah.
Not
Well,
M&Ms.
Reese's Pieces went ahead M&Ms because
No.
of it
Oh.
for a brief time.
Oh yeah. Great.
But yeah,
It is a great Spielbergian sentimental.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does it perfectly, and it captures it. Great. I was like Elliot's exact age
Mhm.
at that time. I'm the same age, lived in a very similar circumstances, suburbia and all that. So I mean, a lot of Star
Sure.
Wars stuff in it and all that just hit me perfect.
and it also had Erica Eleniak when she was hot.
Drew Barrymore was your sister.
No, I would have been able to get a lot more drugs if she was. I know that.
I put in the Blues Brothers because again, like I say, I'm a sucker for a musical, and the Blues Brothers is just one of those films which is utterly bonkers.
I never liked it.
You're wrong.
I
The
can't
fact
help
that
it.
it goes. The
I
fact
never
that it
liked
goes
it either.
on, it goes on and on and on, and it just gets worse and worse and worse for them. And the only place they were going to end up is ultimately in jail and stuff with all these people trying to kill him and everything else. Is brilliant.
It's a magic car. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I love when the Nazis, for whatever reason, end up like 8 million stories above the ground and start, because they jumped off this bridge and now they're way up there.
I always loved you.
I always loved you. And then they hit.
It's just, it's one of those stupid, silly comedies, which just, I don't know, just absolutely nails it. And I know it was like a big thing on Saturday Night Live and stuff, which we never got over here. So I kind of never got the references like that. But to me, this movie was just stupidly good fun. My favorite line from it is when they go to the Bob's Country Bunker. And he sort of says, what kind of music do you play here? Oh, we got both kinds, country and Western.
And the greatest car chase ever put to film.
Absolutely.
Fight me. I think like 7,000 Chicago police cars, give or take one or two, got wrecked.
I love the fact when there's about 20 cars all piled up and all the policemen climb out the cars and just start shooting at him.
Just start shooting. Oh, and one last thing before we move on. John Candy, after the police car ends up in the back of us, and he's like, "Can I have the radio?" Sure.
This is car.
What car are we in? 5-5. Yeah, this is car 55. We're in a truck.
Brilliant.
I don't know. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Too much musical, I guess.
Oh yeah, you don't want too much joy in your films, do you, Sean?
No.
Okay then, number 5. I've got Holy Grail. Sean, Matt has got Empire Strikes Back. Sean has got Reanimator, and then Yoda has got Close Encounters of a Third Kind.
I'm a little angry. I didn't think to put Holy Grail on my list.
I'll go first with that one then. Holy Grail is probably the best comedy of all time ever.
Really?
It is so unbelievably quotable. It's hilarious. The comedy has a real weight of intellect to it, but at the same time is so utterly stupid in places.
He says that it's the greatest comedy ever made. It like he's never seen an Amy Schumer movie.
To be fair, I've only seen 2 of them. No, but I mean, it's just one of those films that just, no matter how I could genuinely recite the whole movie from memory.
Please don't.
I won't. But what I'm saying is I could do that, but every time it's on, I still just laugh at how funny it is. And the ending is again brilliant. The fact that they're going to storm this castle and then they all get arrested. They all get arrested for murder and stuff. I love Holy Grail. I find it funnier than
with you 100%.
It's all right.
I found it a bit too ridiculous, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that probably I would have to agree with that. I can't
hand in your British citizenship.
I
know. Heresy. I'm probably the only person.
Crime against the crown, there, man.
I just thought you're just stupid for the sake of being stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing with me, like that kind of thing. It's a little. Never mind. I don't want to get
with no. With it though, like I say, I just like stupid comedy. I like I say with Team America. There are places in Team America which is just stupid, and I find that funny. Yeah, exactly. Dumb and Dumber is another one, like I say, and yeah, so I like it. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. If Matt, if you want to talk about Empire Strikes Back, and then Sean, just chip in whatever you want to with Empire, because I know that's going to be on your list as well.
I think there's I didn't realise my list is a lot of sequels, and again, probably a sequel that's better than the original. I mean, what do you want me to say about Empire Strikes Back? It's just brilliant from start to finish. We've all said it a million times, so it's just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Sean, your thoughts?
It's the best of the 3, and I agree with that. That's about. I mean, I have no
because there is only 3. Exactly.
I appreciate you saying it's the best of the 3. That's all there are. Well done, sir.
It's got everything. It's science and action and love and monsters and lightsabers. It's remarkable. It's a really remarkable film.
It's about family, and I think that's the most important.
Family. I mean, with it as well, it's probably got the biggest plot twist in cinema history.
I know there's a black guy.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without that, I think you're dead right there.
Yeah. There's a couple of videos on YouTube of people who actually shot footage live in a cinema when that happened, and you can just hear the audience go, Like, you know, and apparently even James Earl Jones, when he read the script, he said to George Lucas, he said, "He's his father? No, he's lying." You know, and I mean, even he couldn't believe it. And
they kept it a secret from David Prowse, didn't they? Because he had a
massive
reputation
mouth
of
on
being
him.
loose-lipped. So he actually said the lines of Obi-Wan is your father. So it wasn't until they actually see the film that he said it as well. Yeah, you know, a magnificent film.
It is. It's absolutely brilliant. We've got where were we? Number
Reanimator.
Yeah, Reanimator. Sean. Yeah, go on.
Oh yeah, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. A bit of a dark comedy too, based on Lovecraft's
hilarious.
Story. Yeah, it's so much. You get to see. Oh man, we get to see a headless corpse take his head and orally rape a woman, and probably a scene that caused the actor to end up divorced from his wife. As a matter of fact.
Oh, is this the one I'm meant to watch?
You should have watched.
You should.
No, it's
great.
not. It's not on the show.
About a month ago.
No, Necromantic is what you're thinking.
No. This is very different movies.
Necromantic is not a comedy.
No.
Oh, okay.
I laughed.
I mean, he wouldn't think it's a comedy.
What?
Yeah.
What was the line, Sean, when they're trying to chase the dead cat and the guy? Oh God, I can't remember.
He said, "Why didn't you tell me?" He's like, "What am I supposed to do? Leave a post-it note? Cat dead. Details later."
Yeah, that's it.
Leanne in the comments obviously likes Reanimator as well.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites.
And then Yoda, you've got what should have been in my list. Well, I didn't actually put it in, but Close Encounters of Third Kind.
Yeah, I saw this at a very young age, but I've enjoyed it ever since. Again, this is one of those which version do you like kind of thing. I like the version that puts in some of the more of the things that they find, like the ship in the desert. I do not like where Richard Dreyfuss goes and sees the inside of the ship. I don't want to see the inside of the ship. That's a bad idea. But overall, I don't know if he's the worst father or the luckiest one because those kids were horrible and his wife was horrible. But on the other hand, he kind of brought it on himself. So there's that whole thing that we talk about now. But just you want to talk about two movies that really probably inspired things like Stranger Things, like when they talk about 80s sci-fi Spielbergian movies. What kind of atmosphere are you trying to evoke? It's probably E.T. and Close Encounters.
Yeah,
I mean, those two are pretty much it. If you really think about those type of movies back then, and they, movies like Cocoon and some others, I think they Explorers a little bit. I think they all kind of try to evoke that kind of tone that he set down with Close Encounters. So great movie, love it.
Yep.
Do you think looking at these lists as we go along, there's a lot of Spielberg stuff in there? Understand?
Yeah, part of that's part when we were born. All that too.
Back in the day, I was going to say back in the day, Spielberg was I think there wasn't a time where like 4 of the top 10 movies of the decade were Spielberg or something or other. Maybe
Spielberg or Lucas. Lucas had the other 3.
Okie dokie then. So that was number 5. Number 4. We've talked about Fight Club. We talked about Jaws. But Taegun Guy?
Taegugi.
South
Korean war movie about the war in Korea.
And Matt picked Alien. Sean, would you like to talk about your movie?
No, I think I just did.
I'm glad we're not getting too obscure with any of these.
It is the best war movie ever made. It is the South Korean version of Saving Private Ryan, but it is amped up to 10. It a few more years to improve on special effects. It's a very realistic, horrible story, nonstop. It is the best. It's the best war movie.
When was it made?
Oh gosh, early 2000s. I'm not quite sure.
Close enough. But I mean,
it's around that time, but it's amazing because South Korea makes fucking great action movies and war movies, and they
do, yeah.
That is the gold standard. If you ever watch it, you'll say that is the gold standard for war movies right there. Even now, watch it now, and you're like, even by like action war-ish movies now, that still can't top it. Not yet. They ain't topped it yet.
Brilliant. We've mentioned Fight Club, we've mentioned Jaws, but Matt, you had Alien down, the original Alien.
Yeah, amazing. Better than Aliens. Hence why it's another. Yeah, listen, I've always said that Alien and is the whoever wrote Alien gave one draft to
Dan O'Bannon
and one draft to Americans, and that's why you've got Alien and Aliens. This is just a masterclass in suspense and scares and jumps, and the Xenomorph to this day is just one of the most horrific fucking things I've ever seen on screen. But it keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. It's horrible. It makes you sweat. You know, it's one of those things you actually can't wait for it to be over. Yeah, you can't wait for it to be over. It's just fucking horrible. But
Ripley was right. Don't let him in.
And like Blade Runner, the design, the set design, the atmosphere is unmatched.
All practical. Yeah.
I think as well. Well, I was going to say with the practical effects, I think it's actually brilliant because it's so believable that the fact that even though it's kind of set in the future, if you like, because obviously they've been, in cyber sleep or whatever it was cryostasis. But the technology is kind of what you could imagine that kind of ship would have, even if it was built like, and just it's brilliant.
There's a term for that. There's a term for that where it's like what do they call it? Something like
used future.
Yeah, used future, blue collar used future, something like that. And oh man, I love the tone it sets like that.
I think it's difficult when somebody says, "Well, I think Aliens is better than Alien," or "Aliens is," whichever one is better. I feel like they're almost two distinct genres, even though they're sequels. That it's really difficult to say one is better than the other because it's like saying which is better, When Harry Met Sally or Empire Strikes Back. It's like, what?
Yeah, one is a
When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, one is a perfect sci-fi horror slasher. Then the other one is a sci-fi military action.
Yeah, one's psychological. Alien is a psychological. Just fucks with your head, and obviously the whole theme's about rape and everything else, which they emphasize on. It's just. I love it. I love it. It's one of those films, and I think you're right, Yoda. You can't really. It's difficult to compare them both, but I think if you used to say you're only allowed to watch one for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
When Harry Met
Probably
Sally.
Aliens.
Oh, sorry.
I would pick Aliens because it's more fun. Alien is. It's a slasher movie, and it has those tropes, and but I don't know, man. I'd probably. One thing I can say for sure is I do not like Ridley Scott's later edit where he tries to make it. It's like he tried to sabotage James Cameron after the fact by going, "Oh, there's no queen. It reproduces." It's like, dude, fuck off. I don't. That's the problem. That's
that was in the original novel. That was before Cameron did his. So but to be fair, that was in the original screenplay.
Yeah, but we didn't see that on screen, so therefore it was fair game.
Yeah. Doesn't count.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridley doesn't understand his own shit.
Let's get into the top three. We have got Raiders of the Lost Ark again, The Shining again. Close Encounters again, but Sean's got a nice new original one of Battle Royale. Tell us about that, Sean.
Battle Royale on any given day could be my number one because for years it was, and it is a dystopian, slightly into the future Japanese, and it's basically there's a law that's passed to cut down on delinquency and youth criminals, and they have to go to an island and fight to the death to where there's only one left, and it is a bloody, gory, so much fun. Just great movie. You get to see Japanese high school kids murder each other in gruesome, terrible ways.
I think what was great about it was because I watched it fairly recently and because I hadn't seen it for a long time. And what I loved about it is none of them believe they're in that situation. Until like the first one actually dies. And then it's like, hang on, we are actually doing this? And
this is. And they're given all of them are given different weapons, and some of them get something as useless as like a garbage can lid
or binoculars or something.
Yeah. And it just and they turn and they try the friends turn on each other because they're all they know only one of them can live, and so some of them try to get together to come up with a plan, but they don't trust each other, and it just falls apart. It's a great movie. It is a fucking masterpiece of a movie. It's a perfect movie in my opinion.
Yeah, it is spectacular. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
We have got Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Superman, and another original from Sean of Return of the Living Dead.
Nobody's actually put Star Wars up there.
Well, like I say, my Return of the Jedi is the trilogy itself, but it's Return of the Jedi that is my favorite. It's the first one I remember seeing on the big screen. Even though I saw cinema at home, my dad had it on 8mm and we had it on our own scene. Return of the Jedi, I just remember seeing it with all my friends and queuing outside and being excited and watching it. And just like I say, the bit where Luke says, "I'm a Jedi like my father before me," and the whole Falcon flying in and out of the Death Star is, to me, it's just the best cinema I can remember. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. And like I say, we mentioned Superman. So Star Wars then, Yoda.
Well, I mean, being a few years older than you, that was one of my earliest. And you talk about 7 years old, like one of your earliest moments is seeing Star Wars in 70 millimeter on the biggest indoor screen in the city. You might as well have just branded it into my brain. I mean, it rewrote my DNA, literally. I never, and it was, I don't think if you weren't alive back then, or if you weren't around, you don't understand what a cultural earthquake it was. It was like nothing that had ever come before, and I never get tired of it. I get tired of the changes, but I never get tired of the actual movie. And there's only one movie that can top it, in my opinion, and but it was the movie that started it all, and for good or for ill at this point. But I don't think that all the crap that Disney has done to Star Wars should take away from the simple mythological greatness that was that first film.
Yeah. Sean, then tell us about Returning of the Living Dead.
Greatest horror movie ever made. Best zombie movie. It's another black horror comedy written by Dan O'Bannon, directed by Dan O'Bannon, the guy that wrote Alien. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, great movie. It's so much fun. It's the movie responsible for people thinking zombies eat brains. Its effects in it are amazing, and it's got one of the darkest, bleakest endings of any horror movie you'll see. It's a great movie. Great soundtrack too. Just everything about it. It's
never seen it.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it.
Yeah, I'm not a horror fan.
There's good nudity in there as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah, you can see Linnea Quigley full frontal nudity.
Nice.
Classic. Okie doke. So we've been through quite a few films this evening. I don't think we've actually.
I think we can stop here and pick this up.
Pick it up next week.
So next week on the Last Movie Outpost, we'll be talking about the new Christopher Nolan film. No, just to bore the pants off everybody. Okay, so number 1 on the list, we have got Yoda, Empire Strikes Back, me, Cinema Paradiso, Sean Drive, and Matt, The Godfather.
I was expecting Man of Steel, to be honest with you.
No,
it wasn't even on the list.
It's not even on. Yeah, I know.
Well, I did say, I said The Dark Knight was the second greatest. Obviously, Superman was the first. We skipped over what I thought of the film, so fuck you. But no, Man of Steel is a great film, but it's not top 25.
Well, I didn't. I don't know. The way he goes on about it, I thought maybe.
Yeah, no. Well, you sucked the DCU's dick. I thought for sure.
I like to go on about it just to get a rise out of you douchebags.
I don't care though. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with Yoda. I mean, we've mentioned it, but go on. Tell us about Empire Strikes Back.
I don't want to get too far into it. We talked a lot about it, but I mean, yeah, I'll never forget when he said, "Luke, no, Luke, I am your father," and it just
Wait, who's his father?
My
Who's his
line?
Who's his
whatever
father?
in the line.
Who's his father?
When Vader is revealed to be his father, don't step on my moment here.
I'm just saying, it's not the line. He doesn't say Luke. He says, no.
No, I am your father. I know. But I remember my brain just exploding in my tiny little 9-year-old head. So, it's
again a plot.
Well done. With that trilogy. Fantastic all the way around. And it ignited my love of movies. That trilogy is why I love movies today.
Good answer. Matt, Godfather.
Easily the best film ever made. By far. I don't know. Listen, I could go on about it for fucking hours, but we've been online for like 3 hours already. So, listen, it's just the greatest film. It changed everything.
I think there's an argument to be made that you're right on that. I mean, it's
a masterpiece from start to finish.
Mm.
And they've done a series recently called The Offer, which was they made. I think it's about 8 episodes of the making of The Godfather and everything that to do to get it made, and it just makes you appreciate it even more. It's just brilliant. Marlon Brando, just a masterpiece. Al Pacino, just brilliant from start to finish. Really is great.
That horse, he was very good.
The whole scene, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the opening, even just the opening, the music.
Opening. God, it's
just
so
that,
good.
just that music. You're just like, do you know what? I need to watch this whole bloody thing. It's only been on for 3 seconds.
And how many careers got started? I mean, Al Pacino now in Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler. Thank God.
Diane Keaton as well.
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall is one of my favorite of all time, anyway. So just brilliant. And James Caan, rest in peace.
James Caan. Yep.
And obviously Rocky's wife. I can't remember her name.
Talia Shire.
Yeah.
Mrs. Rocky. Oh,
Miss
Adrian. So, Sean, tell us about Drive with Ryan Gosling.
He's literally me.
You say that about all the psychopaths.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's Nicholas Winding Refn's best movie. It is where do I even start? Great movie, very subtle, a lot of depth to it. A lot of people don't, give it much thought, but ultra violent, ultra moody, a very nice 80s patina on it. Great soundtrack. Oh man, it's a great movie. I love it. Fucking
not a ton of driving in it, weirdly enough.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not Fast and the Furious. A lot of people found that out. A lot of people found that out the hard way. Apparently,
if there's no family in it, I'm not watching it.
There is a family, but it doesn't go very well. Yeah.
I can say one thing about Ryan Gosling in this movie: he was neither fast nor furious.
Yeah. Great movie.
I do remember watching it, but I haven't seen it for an awfully long time. But then, to be fair, going through this list, there's a lot that's going to go back on my list of things that I need to watch again.
Even some of yours, Sean.
Was that?
Even some of yours.
Even some of yours we're going to put on the list to watch. My number one film of all time is Cinema Paradiso. Which
because
is
your dad used to take you into the theater, blah blah blah. We've heard this story a million times. Nobody gives a fuck. See y'all next week.
That's hard. He's waited 3 hours to tell this story. She'll just shits all over him.
Is that just getting you back for interrupting earlier?
Well, let me remove him.
I'm sorry, tell your very touching and emotional story about your dad when you was a kid.
I'm gonna say, that was too much, too far, man. Too far.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Seriously, tell your touching story that we all very deeply care about.
I have actually got my father's ashes here.
And I'm sure they'll be very bored from hearing the story again.
So now he's going to be in the bathtub just pouring them all over something.
Dad, come back, Dad. We've got a TV program over here called The Repair Shop, where people they repair like old things, and I want somebody to go in with a box of ashes going, "Yes, my dad, can you do anything with that?"
Yes, can you?
Anyway,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm going to tell this story, but basically, it's about a young lad growing up in a cinema in Italy, and the cinema is also the church, and the vicar or the priest checks all the movies so that if there's anything dodgy, anything like kissing or passion or anything like that, he cuts them out. But the kid gets to watch them, and the kid growing up with this old guy who runs the cinema did remind me. It's just exactly what me and my dad used to do. There was a bit in there where he says about when you check the film, you lick your lips and put it in between your lips to see which side the emotion's on, and I still do that with 8mm today.
Does it with DVDs?
Yeah. Which side do I put in? That side.
It's a little dodgy with the VHS tapes, I'll tell you that.
So wait a minute. How do you tell how does it feel different? How can you tell the difference?
Basically, the cine film itself it's printed on one side of the film. So see, I can feel that the film's on that side. So when I go to splice it, if I have to edit it, you scrape off this part of the film to glue it to the next bit, and stuff. And so there's that, but the film itself is it's a beautiful story of a cinema in Italy, and the ending is just when I watched it for the first time last year. It's been on my watch list for years, and the ending actually just hit me like a ton of bricks, where I was kind of crying with joy but sobbing uncontrollably. There's just this beautiful film it's got the score by Ennio Morricone, and I cannot put this like above any this goes above every other film I've ever seen. I absolutely love Cinema Paradiso. It's beautiful film. Beautiful.
I can't believe you had an emotional reaction to a piece of art that's so gay.
I don't care. I loved it.
I'm sad to say that I have not seen it yet.
It's honestly, it is one of those films. Like I say, that the score in it is fantastic, but it's just like I say, he goes to the cinema because it's going to be torn down. So when he's grown up and everything else, he goes to the cinema, it's going to be torn down. And when he goes in it turned into like a porn palace. And you see all the chairs are wrecked and stuff, and there's old dodgy posters on the wall. And it's just heartbreaking because it's kind of, it's his whole childhood encapsulated in one place, and it's going to be torn down. And basically I won't spoil the end, but basically the end is just I love Cinema Paradiso.
Oh, we dropped it anyway. Just want to put it up there.
Who's that?
That's the wife.
Go beat her.
See you later. See, I'll call you in a week. All right, bye. Sorry.
Nice.
All right.
That was actually worse than Sean's.
In his own way, yeah.
That was my eldest son paying us a visit, and then I've been on here for 3 hours. So hello, goodbye.
Cats.
Well, maybe we should wrap this up.
Somebody sing "Cats in the Cradle" real quick, because Matt just his son
the cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. Okie doke. So basically, yeah, that was our top 25 movies discussed over a 3-hour period, and all of us never want to see each other again.
Well, I will go ahead and wrap this up, and I think we could see that obviously there was some overlap in these movies, but there's also a lot of different choices, and I think it kind of shows that cinema can be very personal to people and kind of reflect some of the history and the moments of our lives, and that kind of hopefully helps people that watch us regularly understand why we are so angry about the corporate content machines that have come out now, that there's nothing that will connect us emotionally to any of this, and we have those that we want that to be again. That's why all these complaints and all these YouTube channels, I think, are out there talking about this, because you're not creating that anymore. So
we are angry for a reason.
Yeah, and I think it's legitimate, and I think that this list kind of shows. I mean, there's very, very little that was in this last decade. I think it was maybe one.
Yeah, Triple R or RRR, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was a non-Hollywood film, funny enough.
Yeah, which had nothing to do with America. So it gives you an idea. So, but this has been 100 episodes, and we really appreciate that you have stuck with us as long as you have, and especially this episode, which took way longer than we thought. Next time we just do 20 movies, okay? But I had a great time, guys. I really did. And hopefully we'll we'll keep this going for another 100 episodes. So this is the lastmovieoutpost.com. You can reach us at lastmovieoutpost.com, where we can find all the latest in movie news, streaming news, and everything cool about film. We are the cool news now. I am at Drunken Yoda 1. He is at Boba Phil, and you can see us at Movie Outpost on Twitter. Matt and oh yes, we have a Facebook, Last Movie Outpost, and Instagram at Last Movie Outpost, and of course just come to the website. We have you can respond on any of our articles, and we usually interact with anybody. And if you want to reach us directly, email us at contact@lastmovieoutpost.com. So one last round around the horn. Phil, got anything want to add to all this?
No, I'm good today.
Okay, good, because I needed somebody to say something because I was losing oxygen. Matt.
No, it's been fun, and thank you for everyone that did watch and sat through this for 3 hours.
My back
Even
teeth
we
are,
didn't want to.
my back teeth are floating.
Yeah,
To be fair, it's 3 hours, but it was a good 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised, Sean, that your battery made it this long since you never plug in when you come to these things.
I'm using my phone this time, so.
Okay, so it lasted. That's good. Well, anything want to? I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. We'll figure it out.
Well, maybe
Halloween.
Cecil.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'll see if Cecil will join us next week for the. We'll start talking about some of our scary movie moments.
Oh, that'll be fun. I better get on that list, huh?
I mean, if you want to, yeah, you probably should. Don't want to embarrass us and the rest of us three in front of Cecil.
Oh, I did.
That's
last
my
time.
job.
Nobody cared.
That's my job.
Yeah, don't render feel irrelevant here.
When have I embarrassed you guys? Besides every single time.
Got it.
To be fair, Yoda, a lot of your 25 scariest moments can be taken from this live stream.
Not real life.
Does this include home movies?
Not real life. This is movie moments, not real life moments.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I bring in news clips?
No, that's too scary.
Yeah, what's your scariest movie? 9/11.
That's like the old joke. Just to finish with the old joke.
It just went on for four weeks, man.
What's worse than finding half a worm in your apple? The Holocaust.
You know what's worse than finding 10 dead? You know what's worse than finding 10 dead kids and 10 garbage cans?
Oh God.
Finding one dead kid and 10 garbage cans.
Bye.
Wrap it up, Yoda.
He was grandfathered in. I don't know what to tell you. He's got a contract. It's rock solid. We've had our lawyers look at it. We can't get it. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next stream. God, I hope.